Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we are wrapping up Season 3 of Fraggle Rock with 4 episodes from May of 1985 titled The Cavern of Lost Dreams, The Incredible Shrinking Mokey, A Dark and Stormy Night, and Gunge, the Great and Glorious. I gotta say, Sam, usually right now we do a little bit of chit-chat, a little bit of talk. I don't think we have time today.
We have 4 episodes to do. How did we used to do 4 episodes?
We were dumb, young, naive, probably skipped over a lot of details.
We were 35 or we were 34. We were
Probably,
34
yeah.
back when we were doing it.
What did they know? Those two
and now
young,
we're 35.
those young bucks. We're in 36, Sam.
Oh my God, Matt, fuck you.
Sorry, I always have to remind you how old we are.
That's disgusting. I think I'm gonna be 35 forever. I feel like I got 35 energy, so that's where I'm staying.
Huge difference between 35 and 36.
Are we over? We're not over the hill. 40 is over the hill, right?
I
That's
mean,
when your family buys you the black balloons and the.
So I remember that's like the first birthday party I remember from my mom as a kid was that our family threw her an over the hill 40th birthday party. And
So
now
weird.
as a 36-year-old man, I look at that, I'm like, wow, that was really insulting.
Would it be funny though if we all showed up to your house and threw you an over the hill party though?
Yes, now because I would know that it's like an ironic sort of thing. But back then, that's how people talked about, like, 40. Ooh, you better pack it in.
I feel like that's like so that children will tell the other parent we need to buy all these black balloons. Like it's to trick children somehow. I think.
I don't feel
the
like
other
I was
parents
involved
gotta be
at
like,
all in this this
Really?
party that happened. Yeah,
because the other parent can't be too far off from 40 one way or the other. So.
yeah.
I don't know.
I think the unfortunate thing is I feel like this didn't happen to my dad. They just did it to my mom.
We did it to my dad.
Okay.
So I think it goes all ways. I mean, to be fair, 80, you are you're not necessarily halfway there, but 80's pretty old.
Yeah, but
So-
the imagery for over the hill parties is like literally a gravestone.
Gravestone.
Like
Yeah.
you
Grim
are
Reaper.
practically dead at age 40.
Yeah.
It's not over
You
the
are-
hill like, hey, halfway there. Let's celebrate you being halfway through your life, which is also kind of dark. This is black balloons, gravestones. Hey, you might as well not even count as a person because you're practically dead.
Even if it's not you are practically dead, it is. From this point on, the Reaper will be gaining ground on you instead of the other way around.
Before you look back and you didn't even see him. He's a little dot on the horizon. Now you got to pick up the pace a little bit to stay ahead of him.
You can feel his chill breath on your neck. Sorry, Dad. Love you.
Well, as the Reaper quickly approaches us, we are going to spend most of our time talking about Fraggle Rock for the rest of our lives. Or at least, Muppets and Elmo on the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Okay. That's fine.
But because we don't have too much time, I do want to get us to what we're watching this week. So, Sam, what did we watch this week?
First, we watched Cavern of Lost Dreams, air date May 6th, 1985. Cotter Penduzer thinks all the architect's buildings are boring, and she's sick of pretending like she doesn't. She's been trying some interesting new stuff with her buildings, but there's just one problem. The Fraggles love architects' buildings, but they think that Cotterpin's buildings are disgusting. Cotterpin's takeaway from this is that everyone else is a heathen who doesn't understand real art. As she and the architect discuss her woes, Architect lets slip the legendary Cave of Lost Dreams, an ancient doozer cave with ancient doozer buildings, the finest ever built. Cotterpin decides she needs to go learn from these ancient buildings and sets off to find them, even though their location is lost to time. Luckily, as she embarks, she overhears that Gobo is the greatest explorer of all time, so she heads to his cave to recruit him. Gobo is hesitant to help, partially because it seems like a lot of trouble to go through for a doozer, and also because Matt doesn't have any records of this cave in any of his maps. Cotterpin accuses him of only being able to explore places his uncle already has, damaging Gobo's ego enough that he agrees to lead her to the cave. So off they go, and hey, they find it without much trouble at all, aside from a little bit of bickering. And it's pretty cool. It's filled with ancient buildings and columns and stuff like that. As Cotterpin observes her surroundings, she runs across two doozers who are ancestors of the doozers left behind to guard the city, as the other doozers left to find more building materials and never returned. Cotterpin thinks they both have a lot to learn from each other, so she offers to stay and help them develop a new style that combines the best of her architecture with the best of theirs, an offer that they don't really seem to understand, as these doozers come from a time when architecture was meant to be unchanging and last forever. This belief is made very clear after Gobo knocks down and tries to eat one of the columns, which lands him in the dungeon. Cotterpin tries to help them rebuild the column with some modern techniques, resulting in a blasphemous construction that also lands her in the dungeon. Gobo and Cotterpin spend a bit of time blaming each other for their plight before putting aside their differences and hatching a plan that lures the ancient doozers into the cell. The plan works. They jump the doozers, they steal their weapons, and they tell the ancient doozers that they should probably come with them to rejoin doozer society because they're kind of feral and weird. The ancient doozers agree, and they all return to the rock, where Cotterpin apologizes to the architect and admits that she knows that she still has a lot to learn from him, and he admits that he does kind of think her new buildings are sort of cool, even if they're a little bit weird. Meanwhile, up in outer space, Doc and Sprocket both separately try to invent a new dog cereal to varying degrees of success before joining forces and using Doc's inventing skills and Sprocket's dog palate to successfully invent dog cereal. And they do it.
Human and dog cereal.
The pitch was like, when you're lonely in the morning, you can eat the same food as your dog.
Yeah.
Which is the saddest glimpse into Doc's brain that I think we've ever had.
Yeah, I feel like this batch gave us a pretty dark glimpse into Doc and Sprocket in general. But that's definitely the lowest point.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. They're having fun. But
specifically, his brain immediately goes to... Well, if you're extremely lonely, like me, you can eat the same food as your dog and maybe you'll feel 5% better this morning.
Also, does he think dog food is cereal? Like, it kind of felt like he thought dog food was cereal. But that's beside the point. The moral, trying something new is good, but you also need to learn from those who came before. Also, teamwork just in general is crammed in there as well. Next, we watched The Incredible Shrinking Mokey, air date May 13th, 1985. Mokey and Red get a little lost on their way to play rehearsals and wind up finding a pathetic-looking, mangy creature named Bagooney. Bagooney is in a bad way, and he pleads with them to be his best friend and to take care of him. Also, he's magic. Mokey agrees to be his friend, but she says she needs to run to rehearsals before she can spend more time with him, a concept which throws Bagooney into a fit. As she leaves, he tells himself that he can't lose another friend, and secretly casts a spell on her that causes her to very subtly shrink over time. At play rehearsals, Mokey is directing and trying too hard to do it all and make everybody happy, which only matters to the plot in a thematic way, but bears mentioning. As she directs, Bagooney calls her magically, and she is compelled to go to his voice. This is your basic, same exact plot point, repeats itself several times with minor differences episode of Fraggle Rock, so let's just skip to the end, where Mokey has shrunken quite small, and Bagooney has built her a demented little dollhouse that he's locked her in. Red is onto Bagooney at this point, and frees Mokey from her prison. Bagooney chases them to where the play is already in progress and makes a big scene, begging and threatening Mokey to come back. She finally says no to him, which breaks the shrinking spell, then demands Bagooney use his magic to help make their play better, which he does, and that's the end. Up in outer space, Marigold and Sprocket have been spending a lot of time together, and Sprocket is worn out from playing. Doc is worried about Sprocket and finally tells him he can't just be at Marigold's beck and call all the time, and he needs to make time for himself. And if she really likes him, she'll understand this. But we never find out if she does indeed understand this. I was dying to know if she'd break up with him. The moral? The end of the episode makes it seem like it's about standing up for yourself and not trying to make everybody happy. But to me, it seems like it's clearly about bad relationships and how to recognize and get out of them or help people get out of them. But maybe they couldn't make the episode about that.
Yeah, I think
they had to lie.
I think you're right in that it's what it feels like it's setting you up for. But at the end, like Mokey and Baguni stay friends, even though she stands up for herself. And Sprocket and Marigold will presumably remain friends.
Fucking.
But for now, they both get to sort of stand up for themselves and tell the other one, hey, back off.
Baguni is just so specifically a bad partner.
Oh, and to be fair, we'll never see Baguni again, so that friendship does not last.
Well, okay. He deserves it. Then we watch Dark and Stormy Night, air date May 20, 1985. The Gorgs are going on vacation. Gobo, who at this point seems to have mapped a fair bit of the rock and is feeling a bit useless, sees them packing and decides that to truly finish his map of the rock, he needs to map the Gorg castle while they're gone. What Gobo doesn't wait around to hear, however, is Ma and Pa telling Junior that he's finally old enough to stay home alone and guard the castle, including their most important artifact, the Gorg Crown Jewel. In fact, guarding the jewel is a Gorgic rite of passage. Gobo tells his friends that he's going to spend the night in and map the Gorg castle, and they are blown away by his bravery. He tries to tell them that it's not all that exciting because the Gorgs won't even be there, but they're already out the door to tell everybody how brave Gobo is. However, Red also overhears the Gorgs talking about leaving and thinks that Gobo is trying to make himself seem braver than he is by not telling them that the Gorgs won't be there. So she decides to get one over on him by scaring him as he explores. There's a whole lot of setup in this episode, like up until the last 3 minutes of the episode, basically. That night, Gobo explores and Wembley tags along too. They think the castle is empty, but they keep overhearing strange, unexplainable sounds, which are actually Junior making himself popcorn in the kitchen. Gobo and Wembley decide that they better scram. I think this is what happens. I can't quite remember. But on their way out, they spot the crown jewel, they take it for the museum, and then they're about to leave down the tunnel. They hear Red making spooky sounds, and they hesitate, and then they go hide. Is that basically what happens?
Yeah.
Okay.
As much setup as you said there's also as much like plot contrivances where it's like,
right.
And then this one scares that one, so this one hides, and then this one hides in this thing, and then this one runs away from this, and then
Yeah.
And so it just kind of devolves into a mess at some point.
Exactly. It was hard to write this one. Then Red and company decide that they want to go explore the castle too, so they sneak in. Then Junior's cooking explodes, which causes a painting to fall off the wall and block the hole into Gorg Castle from Fraggle Rock, so they're all trapped in there. Junior comes out and finds the jewel missing and is sad, but not for very long, because then he finds the Fraggles and the jewel, and also they're all friends now, so it's not really a big deal, and they just give it back to him. And also, like, all the sneaking around was sort of for naught, because if he had seen them, he would have just said, "Sup," apparently. But now there's a scary figure lurking outside the window. So new plot happens right now. Gorg and Fraggle band together to trap the mystery figure, who turns out to be Pa, there to test Junior by trying to steal the jewel. And Junior passed. Good for him. Up in outer space, Sprocket ate too many pickles and he's having a bad dream. He's too scared of ghosts to go back to sleep. So Doc whips up a ghost detector to make Sprocket feel better. It's a beautiful ghost detector. He makes it so fast.
He has all the parts.
Yeah, I guess so. The moral, I guess it's like don't jump to conclusions. I suppose that's got to be what it is.
I guess
But also,
so,
I'm not
yeah.
really sure, because nothing bad happens is mostly the thing. Everyone's just happy the whole time.
Yeah,
They're
the
just
only
having
person who
fun.
gets really mad is Ma, because Pa ruins their second honeymoon to test
Yeah.
Junior's defenses.
Yeah. So finally, we watched Gunge, the Great and Glorious, air date May 27th, 1985. It's a special day of remembrance at the Doozer Dome. Architect Doozer explains that the Doozers used to have a king, and that king was frivolous and silly and made them dance and party, a dark and terrible time for the Doozers. Architect reveals a hidden mural of the king, and it looks just like Gunge. And wouldn't you know it, Gunge, who's in the cave with Philo looking for a gift for Marjorie, comes around the corner at the exact moment the mural is revealed, causing all the Doozers to think their king has returned, which for some reason they're very excited about, especially Cotterpin, who sets about making Gunge comfortable and keeping him entertained with circus acts and songs. Gunge is pretty pumped to begin with, pumped enough to basically tell his very best buddy Philo to go screw because he's on to better things, but he quickly discovers that, try as the Doozers might to be fun, they're extremely boring. Just as he's about to abdicate his throne, a sad and dejected Philo shows up, bites Gunge, and tells him he's a jerk, causing Gunge to double down on this king business. As Philo skulks away, he sees the mural, and the architect mentions that the mural also kind of looks like him, which leads Philo to sneakily draw an extra tooth on the mural and then declare that they got the wrong king. Gunge is deposed and Philo is installed as the new king, but also quickly discovers that the Doozers are boring. After they both have had a taste of life without each other, and with a bit of help from Marjorie, Philo and Gunge reconcile and cast off the luxuries of royalty to go swim around in garbage together. Meanwhile, up in outer space, Sprocket reads an ad for a fancy, expensive new dog food he wants to try. Doc respects his wants and goes to buy it for him, but tells him it's so expensive he can only afford a can a week and gives Sprocket one tiny dollop. Sprocket is distraught before Doc reveals that he was just goofing around and that he also bought some of the cheap crap that Sprocket already eats. So it's a happy ending for everybody. The moral: there's a lot, I think, of this one. It's lonely at the top. You need to appreciate what you have instead of wishing for what you don't have. And the good things in life aren't always what they're cracked up to be. They're not the magic key to happiness. And I didn't do any of the other stuff that happened because I had too much of this stuff to say.
Well, it's worth noting, too, that while this is ending season 3 of Fraggle Rock, you might notice, this is episodes 19 through 22. Whereas the first 2 seasons of the show had 24 episodes in their first 2 seasons. From here on in Fraggle Rock, it gets a little tricky as far as who did what and why, I think, as far like production-wise, because if you buy some Fraggle Rock DVD sets or certain things you look up about Fraggle Rock, it'll say there are 4 seasons of Fraggle Rock, because that's how many they technically produced. HBO decided, hey, what if we ran this show a little bit longer? And so they split season 4 into 2 seasons. So if you look up on Muppet Wiki and other places, it'll say there are 5 seasons of Fraggle Rock.
They did the thing that Netflix does with cartoons.
Yes. So season 4 and 5 are each 13 episodes each.
Okay.
And to make it so that those seasons would have, I guess, enough episodes, this season was supposed to have 24 episodes, but the last 2 produced for the 3rd season, which are called Side Bottom Blues and Wembley's Wonderful Whoopee Water, were held over for the 4th season instead.
That sounds nasty.
So we will see those 2 episodes in season 4, which will be, again, only 13 episodes in season 4, and that aired in early 1986, and then they held the last 13 episodes for the beginning of 1987.
But assumedly, those were produced as one season.
I believe they did it all at the same time, just like they've been doing for the first 3 seasons. And then HBO just held on to it for a little bit longer. But elsewhere in the world of the Muppets and Jim Henson in May 1985, Jim wrote in his journal on May 4th, to New York for Muppet Monsters meeting. There's no more details, but I have to assume this is probably about Little Muppet Monsters, which is the upcoming project they're working on, which we will discuss pretty soon, in just a few weeks, I think.
Yeah. Short-lived, correct?
Very short-lived.
2 episodes or something
I think
like
2 or
that.
3 episodes actually aired. They made 8. I don't remember how much we actually have available to watch, but yes, the very famous Kermit typing away on the typewriter GIF that goes around, I believe is actually from Little Muppet Monsters.
Oh, wow.
And from an unaired episode of Little Muppet Monsters, I believe.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then on May 5th, Jim wrote to Amsterdam for filming Labyrinth.
Oh.
So we had discussed previously that they were starting to film Labyrinth sometime around the spring of 1985, and this sheds a little bit more light on that because on April 13th, 1985, Jim hosted a pre-production party at his house in Hampstead, London, to launch the shoot, and then 2 days later, they started the shoot. So that was April 15th is when they actually started shooting the Labyrinth.
And it's a Dutch production?
They went all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, so they film all over the place for that one. And it was like, it sounds like it was a very grueling shoot of constantly flying around on very tight schedules. So I'm sure we'll learn more about that when we're talking about Labyrinth. And I think we have a behind-the-scenes documentary on that one that we can watch just like we did with Dark Crystal. Then on May 18th and 19th, Jim wrote in his journal that they were recording Kermit and Piggy for a show called Dance in America. So this was an introduction for the Great Performances TV show called Dance in America, which broadcasted the San Francisco Ballet's Cinderella on December 7th of that year. So this was apparently the previous October. The producer of Great Performances was inspired by the Rudolph Nureyev Muppet Show episode and sent a invitation to Jim and Frank Oz asking for their participation in the 90-minute special. And a few months later, because this is the 80s and this is how communication worked, Jerry Jewell met with the producer and reported back to Jim his positive reaction.
Wow.
So she sent a letter to Jim and Frank. A few months later, Jerry Jewell meets with her, and then lets Jim and Frank know, yeah, she seems pretty cool. We should do this.
Well, also the thing she sent them a letter about initially was several years old.
Yes. Well, and she also, it says that she sent a telext invitation to Jim and Frank, which is,
What's that?
I think it was like a fax.
Ah.
I think it was like an 80s fax, like maybe an alternative, like a VHS beta kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, clearly I think inspired, it uses the phone lines, which is probably why Tella is in there.
Damn. Fax must have been crazy back then. I guess they had phones. But
I'm going to draw this on a sheet of paper and I'm going to put it in a machine and you're going to get it.
I mean, it really must have changed the game. It seems so quaint now, but.
But we will be watching that clip of Kermit and Piggy on Great Performances around February. I think we'll be watching it. Then on May 25th and 26th, Jim wrote Paris by Edgar Brandt Snake Lamp. I have a picture of this lamp to show you. It's in the middle of this photo. It's a little...
Oh, evil lamp.
Yeah, it's a big, it's a snake straight up, standing just up, like snakes don't do. And its head is curled around this basin that holds a light in it.
A very 90s looking light basin thing.
Yes. Yeah. No, this is an extremely dated piece of furniture Jim had here.
It's dated in a lot of different ways. It's like ancient Egyptian and it's also ahead of its time because it was 1985 and it does feel like the 90s.
Yeah.
So this was a very futuristic
I mean, I
piece.
think we're probably used to, suburban 90s styles, which was probably a few years behind people who had money in the 80s.
Exactly, yeah.
So Jim was ahead of the times because he had money to keep up with trends in the 80s, and our parents were a few years later shopping out of catalogs.
My parents also went to Paris and bought snake lamps. So
damn.
Speak for yourself.
Well, my parents were not going to Paris.
If I walked into this room, I would be so sure that my head was about to get blown off.
There was a Maltese Falcon thing on the table in front of it.
Room is.
That it looks like if he would pull back, a trapdoor would open and you would fall into it. And Faz Fazakas would just be waiting down there to jigsaw you into some trap.
Exactly. To turn you into a Five Nights at Freddy's type of guy. That's where they got the idea.
Yeah, so, if you need ideas for the Jim Henson biopic, call us up.
What a sinister vibe of this whole room.
Yeah,
Jim,
the tall, uncomfortable-looking wooden chairs.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see this, obviously we're talking a lot about a visual thing here. You can go to Jim's Red Book, the website, and if you look up the page for May 25th, 26th, 1985, about the snake lamp, you will see the image on that page. But this is because that while directing Labyrinth in London, Jim used his weekends to attend to other business, traveling to New York for meetings on things like Little Muppet Monsters, or to record scripts for the Muppet Show live tour. But apparently, returning on overnight flights, he was back in the studio on Monday mornings, and some weekends involved a more relaxed getaway, ballooning in France. or visiting friends in the English countryside. And one of these trips to Paris included shopping for decorations for his new Manhattan apartment. And he sought out animal-themed items. I think previously we talked about a table or something he had carved with animals all over it.
Animals, yeah.
He purchased this snake-stemmed lamp by the Art Deco master Edgar Brandt.
What an interesting life this guy led. So much money.
Lots of money, but it's very unassuming as a person. I think that's the way to live. Like, on the outside, you're just a bearded man in some sweaters. Everyone's like, oh, look at that humble little man. Back home, you have a Rolls Royce and a cool snake lamp that probably costs $10,000.
Yeah. You go to his house and you walk into his evil lair. Like, what the hell? You're wearing a sweater with a cartoon pig on it. This is what your house looks like?
Well, getting into the Fraggle Rock episodes we watched this week, the first one aired on May 6th, 1985, The Cavern of Lost Dreams, written by P.B. Nichol and directed by Terry Maskell. Opening it up, Doc is trying to invent the dog food cereal. And of course, he pours milk on it. Of course, because Doc loves to do things that dogs shouldn't have. Don't give your dog milk, everyone.
I looked up rose hips, if rose hips were okay for dogs, because that's another thing in a cereal. They're fine.
Okay.
It says dogs can eat them, they just don't need to.
That's most things for dogs. There's some things, obviously, don't give your dog grapes, don't give your dog chocolate. Those things, always true. A lot of things you look up and you're like, it's fine if they eat like one. Milk, though, like it seems like, I don't know if this is a 1-to-1, but it seems like dogs are basically all lactose intolerant. So you give them milk, they're going to have a bad time. And you're going to have a bad time probably as well.
Well, hasn't Sprocket straight up eaten things that would kill a dog dead?
Yeah, he had some licorice, which could be bad. He had seaweed, which isn't great. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think he just uses the word food and cereal so interchangeably here in such a strange way that it was really challenging my concept of what dog food is. Because it really is kind of like cereal. It has grains in it, and it's hard and dry.
I think where you get into not cereal is the meat and broth element. Then it becomes almost more of a stew.
A dry stew? Is that what you're proposing?
Yes. I think if you were going to make a dry stew, it would be dog food.
I think if you had to tell an alien what dog food was, you'd say, it's kind of like a dry stew. And they'd say, we have stew. We understand. Say no more. We have dogs, too. We were just fucking with you.
Yeah, if you dehydrated a stew, I guess it would be dog food.
Yeah. By the end, I was kind of coming around on the idea that dog food is cereal.
I don't.
If you had to eat dog food, you'd put milk on it. You.
What? I mean, I might go with something more.
Pour a Coke on it. Pour some soda on it.
Oh, no, I'm trying to imagine what might taste good. Like
a warm broth, I think, could be okay.
Yeah. Is it going to like soften it up though?
You don't want it softened?
I don't know. If I wanted the cereal experience, I want a crunch.
So this calls for some experimentation.
This feels like a Rhett and Link video.
Yeah.
Does dog food cereal? I mean, honestly, something they might have already done. So
the crunch is important. You do have to. Does warm milk? This is a Hank question. Does warm milk make cereal soggy faster than cold milk?
Ooh,
science question.
Man,
we gotta team them up.
You gotta get these YouTubers on the case.
Make them eat a lot of dog food for our enjoyment, and they'll be laughing all the way to the bank.
Well, down in Fraggle Rock, the Doozers are working away on their Doozer towers. Cotterpin is calling out Architect for his boring towers. And shows off her nice little A-frame design she has come up with here.
Bit overly engineered, I would say.
Wow.
She got too many sticks.
Well, it turns out that is true because as Wembley tries them, it turns out they're too concentrated, too sweet, and too sour.
I never thought of them. I think he says it's so sweet it's almost sour, which I never thought of them as sweet. Because like I've said a million times before, I always picture them tasting like Funyuns.
Well, yeah, and they're obviously made from radishes. So if you're just thinking about radish dust, that's not going to taste sweet on its own.
Radishes are a bit spicy, aren't they?
Sam, honest to God, couldn't tell you if I've ever had a radish.
I think I have, but I can't think of what they taste like.
Maybe when we finish up Fraggle Rock, we'll each just have to eat a radish like an apple.
You think, here's another good YouTube idea. Who's the man who makes the crazy foods from the shows? Binging with Babish.
Yeah.
That face you made was rude. What did you think I was going to say?
I heard you start to go down the wrong track as far as the words go, and I was waiting to see what came out of your mouth.
We got to get Babish to make a doozer stick. Oh, that's a good idea. Babish. We know you're out there.
Somebody on
Make
Tough
a
Pigs
doozer
years
stick.
ago made doozer stick recipes.
Oh, I remember that.
And I think they like purposefully, obviously, made them good to eat. They didn't like try to like recreate.
Well, I think he does that too, right?
Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
he's gonna make a terrible thing that would poison him.
Right.
Well, Cotterpin's upset because no one around here wants anything different. And she doesn't find Architect's towers inspiring, and he argues that they're the best towers since the Cavern of the Lost Dreams. In fact,
What a
they're actually even better.
yeah, what a thing to say. If they're the best of all time is basically what he's saying.
That'd be like a guy building a building and being like, you know, this is maybe the best building since the Egyptian pyramids. In
You know
fact,
the pyramids?
even better than the pyramids.
Fuck the pyramids. That's like a Donald Trump kind of thing to say.
You're not wrong. I'm sure if you asked him directly, is Trump Tower better than the Egyptian pyramids?
Yeah.
He would waffle at least, if not
Yeah.
downright just say yes.
And maybe I'm sure in certain aspects they are better. They probably have better ventilation.
I think they're built for different reasons, Sam.
That's true. But yeah, I think this is a cool lesson to learn of like listening to old people. I feel like they don't quite hit it hard enough. And then by the time she meets the other old people, they're so crazy that it's like, don't ever
Maybe
listen
not
to
all old people.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting now, and I don't know if we're going to get more of this in 4 and 5, obviously, because we haven't seen those seasons yet. But
Mhm.
in this batch of episodes, they're starting to do with the Doozers what they've been doing with the Fraggles,
Yeah.
where they're just dropping a bunch of bits of random lore that don't really need to
Mhm.
connect or anything. But they're just like, yeah, this is true. Yeah, they used to do that. Yeah, this too. Which I enjoy. I like learning more about all of these species, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they'll keep doing more of this.
I think it's neat how they have slowly like brought all of the different species together too.
Mhm.
So it's like way more normalized now that everybody's talking to each other. Kind of capped off with all the Gorgs just being like, there's some Fraggles.
Yeah.
That's how life is, I guess.
Well, Cotterpin lets us know that she does not know about this cavern, which is apparently the legendary cave filled with towers built by Doozer's ancestors, and no one knows where it is, and maybe isn't even sure it exists.
Yeah.
Because there's no maps, no records. Apparently, this is just passed down by word of mouth.
Yeah. Architect is immediately like, I don't even know if it's real.
Yeah.
I was just talking out of my ass.
But as she heads out to go find the caverns, Architect does something that we see. I feel like we've seen more near the end of season 3 than we have at all in Fraggle Rock. He shouts out something that perfectly sets up a song. He goes, "You're
Yeah.
on your own, Cotterpin." And so she starts singing a song called "I'm on My Own," which is just a great Doozer song that Cotterpin sings while she drives through the rock on this great Doozer highway of curving roads that
I love that.
I don't even really know how they pulled it off with the camera move and the remote control Doozer. I have to imagine they shot this like 20 times to get it right.
Yeah. When it starts to get to that hill, I'm like, what are they going to do?
Right?
The Doocer's going to fall over.
And there's not a cut there. They just let it go. Speaking of that, I've been trying to catch up on some of my Fraggle Rock DVD behind the scenes things as we get closer to the end of the series. And I watched them talk about the flooping episode where the Doozers were pogo sticking. And they
Right.
talked about the fact that they were there till 3 a.m. trying to perfect the scene of them on their pogo sticks. So it would not surprise me if this was the same sort of situation where they were just like, we have to get this perfect.
I feel like Sujith specifically also said 3 a.m.
Oh, maybe that's just like burned into everyone's brains.
Maybe they were all there till 3 a.m. a lot.
At the end of her song, this is when she hears Red and Wembley talking about Gobo and how great of an explorer he is, and he could find anything. So Cotterpin goes to Gobo. Gobo is maybe the last Fraggle we've seen be completely shocked to be talking to a Doozer for the first time.
Boobers talked to a Doozer,
Boober
right?
talked to Cotterpin, forgot her name a few times, but did
Right.
become friends with her in the end because he had to save her
And
from the
Wembley?
blob.
Has Wembley?
We've seen Mokey obviously talk with the Doozers.
Yeah, Red has a bunch of times.
Red.
too.
And I think we've seen Wembley talk to them. Wembley's tried out their food for them, so he's definitely friends with them.
Yes. Wembley wasn't even shocked that they were talking to him, I don't think. I think he was just like, okay.
Yeah, he's been their tester multiple times
Yeah.
for their Doozer sticks. So I think
Yeah.
this is the last Fraggle, as far as the Fraggle 5, that we needed to see sort of become friends with a Doozer. Thankfully, while Gobo is shocked to be talking to a doozer, I think he even says like a Fraggle talking to a doozer, which clearly shows that none of these people actually talk about their daily lives with each other. Like none of them say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I hung out with a doozer all day."
Doozers are cool. Is this the one where he's wearing that blossom hat, or is that a different episode?
Oh, I don't even remember. He has.
That's the Bagoonie episode.
He has a cool hat at one point in this episode, I believe, or maybe.
I think he's always been wearing a different hat in every episode we've seen him in.
Yeah.
For the past season, I'm pretty sure.
Gobo's secret hat collection that never gets addressed. Thankfully, though, Gobo does remember Cotterpin's name and actually uses it, unlike Booper did when they met up.
Yeah.
And so she asks for his help in finding the cave, and I immediately love this storyline.
Me too. I was like, this is like one of his fantasy, like a Jim Henson fantasy movie, but done much more like coherently and also like efficiently told. And just seeing her riding on his back was like, this is great. This is what Fraggle Rock's all about, baby.
And she even, like you mentioned earlier, tricks Gobo into helping her by appealing to his ego.
Yeah.
Even calling him, Mr. Been This Way Before, Gobo's second time around Fraggle.
She's like the smartest person in the entire rock.
That is
probably.
absolutely true.
Architect is also smart. So those
but
two
he
are
doesn't
the
have the
smartest
street
ones.
smarts.
That's true.
Cotterpin's got the
That's
street
true.
smarts.
She'll bend the rules. She's a loose cannon.
And now they're setting out on an adventure together. Cotterpin's in Gobo's backpack. And at this point, I'm just like, give them their own show. I want the Cotterpin and Gobo show to follow up Fraggle Rock.
I don't want a Gobo show. They tried to make it a Gobo show at the beginning, and it wasn't good.
I feel like Cotterpin balances him out, and also like keeps him in check with his ego a little bit. So
Sure.
I think it could work. But Doc and Sprocket are still up there working on their cereal at this point, and we get to see Sprocket doing his Swedish Chef impression.
That was so funny.
He's just straight up preparing some cereal and just doing the Swedish Chef intro song.
The weird like intro like spoon dance he does or whatever.
And ends it with bark, bark, bark instead of bork, bork, bork.
Does he huck the spoons behind him? Okay.
He even hucks the spoons. So it felt like Karen Prell and Steve Whitmire, who were performing Sprocket, were doing a nice little tribute to Jim and Frank.
Yeah. It was nice to see that.
Another thing I learned, by the way, from watching the DVDs, is that Sprocket's tail not attached to his body.
That, when his tail pops up, I'm always very impressed by his tail. And then I think that's a whole nother human being that they need to do.
Yeah, it's basically like a feather
His
duster
tail.
on a stick that Karen
Sure.
Prell is in charge of. That's just like, hey, look at my tail.
He doesn't always have a tail, right?
I mean, it's not always
Like,
up. We're
Right.
supposed to assume I think he always has one.
Well, of course, Matt. That's how dogs work. It would be scary if it wasn't.
I mean, Eeyore loses his tail constantly, and that should
that's
be more
true.
frightening, but we all just
That's
accept
true.
it.
Can he wag his, when it's attached to his body, does he have any agency over his tail?
Huh, I don't think so.
I don't
think
think
when
he
he wags
does.
it, it's typically his butt is like doing the momentum.
Looping the nail around.
Right. So I don't think he
What a
has any control
strange-
over his tail.
What a strange thing.
But this is where we get sort of the moral being dropped, where Doc says, we have to approach this problem in a more cooperative manner.
Yeah, I liked, there was like, I don't think the overall, I guess it is. The overall moral is cooperation in a way. But I did like that they really tried to tie it in with Doc and Sprocket. And it did feel like pretty natural. Like they were teaching a sub-moral to a larger moral.
But the Fraggle Cotterpin dilemma, I think, is more interesting and more applicable to children than
Yeah.
what if you hung out with your dog and tried to invent cereal? Like, this is just going to make
Because-
kids go eat their dog's dog food.
Yeah. What if you were really lonely?
Hey, kid, are you watching this? Are you lonely? Is your dog nearby? I bet you two could eat the same food.
That's a good point. They wouldn't let them make an episode of a TV show that revolved around inventing a food that dogs and humans could both eat, would they?
Well, especially at the end, showing Doc eat the dog food. And being like, ooh, actually, dog food tastes great. Now, I don't know. Dog food's probably not harmful for children, but,
No, I wouldn't imagine so.
Isn't going to taste great, I assume.
Have you ever eaten it before?
I feel like maybe I bit a milk bone at some point in my life as a teen being dared by a friend, but I've never had like an actual like kibble.
Yeah. It's just like savory, disgusting overload.
Yeah, it's kind of like a graham
Basically.
cracker doused in broth.
Yeah, I guess so. It doesn't taste like any human food, I would say. Like, there's no one-to-one.
Yeah.
I've eaten a few pieces of dog food in my day. Just to see.
They say it tastes like bacon. Let's find out.
What if we're missing out on something delicious and the dogs are keeping it all themselves?
There's often seasonal treats for dogs. It's like, this one's pumpkin spice, this one's apple, this one's pizza. And I'm like, but is it? Like, I don't know.
The dog don't know. What are you telling your dog? Here, this is what pizza tastes like. My dog's eating pizza. I don't have a dog, but when I did, it ate pizza.
Well, Gobo and the fabulous Cotterpin are lost in the caverns. But then some old doozers spy them and say, oh, look, it's a doozer on some kind of riding beast. And then Gobo and Cotterpin just kind of stumble into the Cavern of Lost Dreams.
Yeah, they're not really. It's not hard to find.
Not at all.
Every other thing they've ever found has been much, much harder to find than this.
Yes. But they're both so happy to have found it. And once again, this episode just doubles down on being great because just the energy of Cotterpin and Gobo together, I think, works extremely well.
Yeah.
And the old doozers approach and ask, where's the rest of them? The relief detachment, which is immediately concerning.
Uh-huh.
Did not trust these guys from the first moment we saw them.
And they have spears.
They do have spears, and their names are Yeaster and Krusty.
Disgusting. Easter is a bad name.
Turns out they are the descendants of doozers who were left behind to guard the caves while the other doozers went off to find a new building material. And look out, we got the saddest story in doozer history.
They never went back to get them.
Everyone just left them.
And everyone else died.
Which, their belief structure is a little messed up, but I also understand that this is kind of messed up.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good for people who were abandoned by their civilization, basically.
Mm-hmm. I'm not, sure how long doozers live or what the generational breakdown here is or, if they're brother and sister, husband and wife, both.
That was what I was wondering, too.
Who knows? But they lead in, again, to a song by stating that their motto is as solid as a stalagmite, as unchanging as the rock. And again, when you hear the word unchanging in a slogan, you get a little worried.
Mm-hmm.
And so this leads to the song Eye to Eye, which is a gospel song sung by Cotterpin about her new exciting friends. And they seem a little freaked out by her during the song, but then start to sing along with those concerning lyrics.
Right. I didn't catch, so the concept of this song, it felt a little bit more like it was putting the story forward than other songs.
Yes.
Am I wrong in thinking that she is singing about making changes and they are singing about how everything's going to stay the same and it's going to be great?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the lyrics they sing is, nothing will be different, everything's the same, nothing will be different, the old ways still are true.
Ugh, okay.
Yeah.
That could go on a red hat.
Yeah. Oh, man, if we were a worse podcast, we'd make that piece of merch.
A little more craven. Yeah, that would be a really good piece of merch for evil people.
Yeah, make doozerdom great again.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting that this song explains a part of their character when a lot of the other songs, you could kind of take the song out and sub it out for a line that's just like, I'm over here now, or this lake is nice. And then it would be like, you didn't need the song. But this one isn't as much like that. Yeah,
especially because so many of the songs, often we talk about where they reference things that don't exist in Fraggle Rock. So as much as the songs do feel like part of their society, like it's not, like everyone is aware that people are singing around them.
Right.
The lyrics often feel like everyone immediately forgets what was just said.
Yeah.
Well, this is when Gobo decides to try and eat one of the towers, and he knocks it down and doesn't like it. It's gross. Tastes like moldy old mushrooms.
Which is interesting because they ran out of mushrooms too, and then they had to go find new food also.
Mm-hmm. Even though we saw,
Matt.
we saw in the episode where the Fraggles were running out of mushrooms that there were the radish-based doozer towers already in the Fraggle Rock caverns. So it seems like the doozers ran out of mushrooms earlier than the Fraggles did.
Maybe Yep. I don't know how to square that one.
You know what? I don't think it's worth it.
I was gonna ask. I wonder if that was an accident that they both wrote that about mushrooms, and maybe it was. Now that you say that,
They're like, what's
Maybe
another root thing?
what would grow in a cave?
Yes.
Mushroom. I don't even actually know if mushrooms grow in caves. Do they?
Don't ask me. I don't know anything.
Okay.
Well, Krusty gets real mad and is going to put Gobo in prison. And it works because he has a spear that has itching plant sap on the end of it. And we don't see this, but he apparently uses that somehow to like prod Gobo into a cell.
The threat of itching plants is enough to keep Gobo in the cell because that is the bars of the cell. So
yeah,
it must be real bad.
Must be because he doesn't even try to fight off this little doozer with his spear. But yeah, the doozers yell, "No one defiles the sacred towers." Cotterpin tries to intervene and says, come on, we're all doozers here. And starts to restack the towers, but she stacks it.
It's crazy.
Askew.
They're too modern. She makes a little sculpture with it.
And they yell, "You're a revolutionary, a radical." So now Cotterpin and Gobo are both in prison. And of course, Gobo, in his dark times, needs to turn somewhere for inspiration. So he turns to a postcard from Uncle Traveling Matt.
Oh man, this batch of episodes was rough on the Matt postcards.
Uncle Traveling Matt stumbles across a special cave. That's an antique store, a place where silly creatures discard things and other people buy them. That's literally it.
Yep, and he thinks a doll is sexy. He's like, "Hey, baby." And then it cuts back and Cotterpin's like, "That was not helpful at all."
Yeah, once we get outside perspectives on the postcard, everyone hates them.
Yeah.
But when we do cut back, it is a very cool puppet moment because we have Gobo laying down on the floor of the cave, their prison cell, and Cotterpin is standing on top of his foot while he's laying on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
So you have
I never think about this stuff. I just see it and think there. She's standing on top of his foot.
Of course she is. Well, Cotterpin comes up with a plan of how they're going to get out of here and yells that they need help. And Gobo pretends to keel over because he's getting sick. And this works. And Cotterpin steals both of their spears.
Well, Gobo sits up and scares him.
Well, that's true.
She doesn't just do she's not a John Wick.
So Gobo and Cotterpin are going to take Krusty and Yeaster. It's unpleasant to say.
I said they're bad names, but they're actually amazing names. They're just disgusting names.
Yes, they're unpleasant to the mouth. But they're going to take them back to meet the radical doozers. And they're freaked out by the idea of change, but they like what they see when they get there.
I mean, even before they go, Easter is like, we need something new in our lives. So they're pretty realistic about
We're just
it.
going to die here alone, so this is at least better than that.
And she does kind of seem to hate Krusty, so that helps too.
And we end on Cotterpin getting to design her own original tower. It's basically just a big diamond-shaped doozer tower. Doesn't look that drastically different, not as different as her earlier ones did. And this one is liked by Wembley, so it passes the test.
It's different, but I still like it.
And up in Doc's world, Sprocket finishes making the cereal, and it turns out they made a good human-dog cereal, so they both get to enjoy it.
Maybe actually one of my favorite Doc and Sprocket storylines.
It's one of my favorite episodes purely because of the Cotterpin Gobo dynamic. And I think, honestly, every time Cotterpin has had an episode focused on her, one of my favorite episodes.
And it's really complicated, too. It's it's about art, and it's about respecting, learning from the past, but it's also about not learning from certain parts of the past, and it's also about teamwork somehow. So it's just it feels like you could feel who wrote this? B.P. Nichols?
B.P. Nichols, yeah, I think he's a Canadian poet laureate.
That's a poet name, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's also often it's P.B. lowercase Nickel.
Oh, I've seen that in the credits and thought they did a bad job writing the credits this week.
Nope.
Okay.
So yeah, he.
So you could feel as he was writing this episode, it was just flowing, the connections feel so natural, and it just is so. I don't know, it's such a good episode. I think it's one of the best episodes. So I gave it 4 stars.
Nice.
I gave it 1 star.
One of the best episodes, but really, if I look back on it, 1 star.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the incredible Shrinking Mokey from May 13th, 1985, written by Jocelyn Stevenson and directed by Les Rose. We open up on Doc, revealing that he has a cousin, Ethel.
And she's a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, she challenged him to invent something useful for once and said, how about a cupboard that doubles as a dishwasher?
What does that mean?
Yeah, it seems to take up the same amount of space as a normal dishwasher.
Actually, more, because you couldn't have anything above your dishwasher.
Right, it's a
The way he
vertical
does it is
loading
it,
dishwasher.
the vertical loading's interesting.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have to bend over. It would be I'm sure there's dishwashers that work like this. I would guess like a restaurant. I don't know what restaurant dishwashers are like, but I would guess that there's industrial dishwashers that work this way. But I don't know what it helps exactly and how it works like a cupboard. I guess a dishwasher kind of already works as a cupboard if you think about it.
That's my thing, is that like when the dishes are up out of it, it's not like you can really use that space for storage because eventually the dishes have to go back in. So you just have to take everything out of the cupboard anyways.
Right.
So I'm not really sure why this is better than anything.
You have to take every dish out if you wanted to wash the other dishes or something.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know what you're doing here, Doc.
I'm not really sure why this is an invention.
You let your cousin make you mad, and this is what happens. You gotta relax around your cousin.
But Betty calls to interrupt because Marigold wants to talk to Sprocket. They make a quick date, and Sprocket takes off so that he won't be able to help Doc out with his invention. Down at Fraggle Rock, Mokey and Red are walking around carrying some interesting-looking puppets with them because they're going to be putting on a puppet show for all the Fraggles in the world, they say.
Oh, I missed
That's what
that.
Red says. I don't know if that's just like building up her own ego, because at the end there's only like 12 Fraggles there, and not even a lot of ones that we recognize from other episodes.
That's what I was gonna say. Like they're all stranger Fraggles, which they're like in a weird place where they get lost going to too. So maybe it's some kind of like neutral ground between like the evil Fraggles and the nice Fraggles or something.
Well, while they're wandering, they hear someone crying and moaning, and Mokey goes off to investigate. She finds the most pathetic creature in the world, Bagoony.
He looks so nasty.
He looks like that rabbit from that show.
He really does.
Bobcat Goldthwait.
From Meet the Feebles.
What?
No, I thought you were going to say from Meet the Feebles.
No.
He also looks like the rabbit from Meet the Feebles a little bit.
He just looks kind of gross and dirty. What I was thinking of is there's a show called Unhappily Ever After, where Bobcat Goldthwait was the voice of a puppet that only the dad could see.
Right.
Wild show from the 90s, folks.
We were trying some stuff back then.
To be fair, I watched that show a lot back in the day.
I think I just was vaguely... I've seen this rabbit before, but didn't know what it was from.
It's Mr. Floppy.
I would have watched it. Here he is with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
You heard it here, folks. Sam says smoking school. But we learn that Bagoony has no friends and is magic. Because he says exactly those words.
That line is so crazy. Nobody likes me. And I'm magic.
But this feels like a real boober. He feels like he's got some season 1 boober energy of just everything's terrible. No one can cheer me up. It's impossible for me to be happy. So Mokey invites him to come to the puppet show, but he's afraid everyone will hate him because he says...
Well, he's like Boober he's Boober who desperately wants to be around people instead of is rejecting society, you know?
I mean, but he does yell, everyone always hates me.
Yeah.
So he's hesitant to meet anyone else.
That's true.
Because he assumes already that they're going to hate him. But then Bagoony says, if I only had a friend. So of course, because this is Mokey, she offers to be his friend. Yeah. And he says, so that means you'll be taking care of me? And of course, because she's Mokey, she agrees.
You are a sentient being. It doesn't seem like you would need to be taken care of, but okay.
Children exist, Sam.
I know, but he's different than like the shape-shifting guy that they met in that one episode, because that guy did seem like a child. Bagoony clearly seems like some kind of creepy old guy.
He does have the powers to do pretty much whatever he wants, so I don't know that, aside from attention and friendship, I don't really know that he wants for much else. It does make me wonder what happened to all the others.
Yeah, because he does specifically mention, I'm not going to let this one get away.
Which I guess we can, best case scenario.
Assume that the other ones
they all got away.
Right.
Or maybe he hugged them to death or something, and that's how they
Right.
got away.
Yeah.
Well, Mokey has to get back to the puppet show. Baguni, of course, doesn't want her to leave. And this is where he says the menacing line, "This one's not going to leave me. Not if I can help it." The puppet show has sort of started. We get a few, as Sam said, false starts, return to plot points in this episode where it just kind of seems like the same thing is happening over and over. So the puppet show is kind of starting a few different times.
And then it seems like they're just rehearsing, and then they're rehearsing real close to when the play's supposed to start,
Right.
which is like 10 minutes from now.
But Wembley can't remember his line. The nice thing about this is I always like when puppets do puppet shows.
Uh-huh. I like Wembley's puppet who looks exactly like him, too.
I like Boober's puppet, who he is seemingly not in control of.
His puppet who has infected his mind with a new personality.
Or it's his Jeff Dunham way of, hey, I can be a terrible person, and the puppet said it. I didn't say it.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's true.
I'm Boober. I'm nice. My
puppet
puppet's racist.
The puppet's a nasty little guy.
Yeah.
At one point, he's like, don't pay attention to him. He has nothing to do with me.
So the production they are putting on is Red and Mokey Fraggle present How Princess Ethel Kills the Giant Without Much Help from Anyone Else. Great title. Why the hell do we have another Ethel?
Who else was Ethel?
Cousin Ethel at the very beginning who dared Doc.
Oh, shit.
Is this the same Ethel?
That's weird.
It's bizarre that they would use the same name twice within about 5 minutes of each other.
Yeah, and we know the same person writes the Doc parts and the...
Yeah.
I mean... Huh.
I don't know.
Maybe they just forgot and they didn't have Control F back then.
They just like the name Ethel. They're like,
Yeah.
I should use that.
I mean, I could totally, like, you write a page and then, like, 5 days later, you write the other page, this page, and then you're like, what's a funny name? Ethel. Just came to me.
But Gobo decides to kind of ruin the play. It doesn't really have an effect on anything. But he decides he doesn't want to be a pet rock beetle, which is one of the characters in the play, and that he'd rather be a knight in shining armor, which seems like a huge rewrite for, 2 minutes before the play is starting.
Yeah, but there's like, this is the undercurrent of she's trying to do everything for everybody.
Right.
Which doesn't hold up through the Baguni thing as much because she is brainwashed. Like, she
Right.
has to do it.
But because she's a people pleaser, they remind her that she did forget to get a magic beanstalk for the play, so of course she's going to go get the magic beanstalk, but here's Baguni calling to her.
Yes, beckoning
And
with
so-
a magic call of some sort.
That no one else can hear. So she gets to Baguni. He asks for an ear scratch, which is all he really wanted this time.
Creepy.
And this is where she launches into a song called I'd Give My Soul, where she's singing a song to him, promising to do way too much for this creature she just met, and just over-promising. Seems like probably under some sort of a spell, but also
That's what I was wondering, too.
not that unbelievable for Mokey as a character.
No, this is the same song, basically, that she sang in The Scarecrow of herself. So this just happens to Mokey every now and then. There's just nothing, like, likable about Baguni.
I
feel like
disagree.
if he
I
was
love
like...
Baguni.
You do?
I like
Oh.
Baguni as a character. I understand that as a person, he's not great
Yeah.
at what he's doing. But as something different introduced to Fraggle Rock, I love this character.
Sure. I mean, what if he was, like, sexy, though? What if he was,
Like
like
if he had
Dracula?
abs?
No, like he was like Dracula or something. And he was like clearly like, I don't know. They don't like to have bad guys on this show though. So they kind of I feel like they had to split the difference and make him not openly sinister. But what if he was like a sexy dude? He could have abs.
Yeah.
They could
Baguni with
for
abs?
him.
Boom. Put it in a
I'm
calendar.
sure. Somebody draw that. The song, I thought it seemed like a little mixed up between a bunch of different genres to me, because it starts off kind of like a music hall, like one of those things like the Beatles would sing. You'd be like, "This is one of their worst songs. I hate this
Yeah.
song."
When, like the skiffle band. Like
yeah,
we played this at the Cavern.
Yeah, and then at the end, it turns into like a doo-wop song,
Yeah, it's much more like 50s
Muppet Babies,
Muppet
style.
Babies-ish kind of song. Well, Red comes looking for Mokey and gets to meet Baguni. And Baguni is pissed because Mokey introduces Red as her best friend. And Baguni says, I must be your best friend. And says, you can't do a puppet show. You have to stay here with me. And then says, stay here or I might do something desperate.
Well, Mokey also says you can both be my best friend, which is
Oh, yeah. She tries to be,
brutal.
reasonable, which, should rightly piss off Red a little bit.
Not very nice to Red.
No. But this is the first time we see Bagoonie use his powers to make Mokey shrink just a little bit.
What a weird curse to put on her. I mean, I guess it makes sense in the end. He's
Yeah.
got a plan, but...
But there's a bolt of lightning strikes Mokey as she's walking through the caves, and we see her just go bloop and shrink just a little bit. Which is something fascinating throughout this episode is they use a number of different illusions to sell the idea that Mokey is shrinking.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just holding the puppet a little lower. Sometimes it's an actually smaller puppet. Sometimes it's the actual little tiny Mokey puppet that they use with the
Gorg
Gorgs.
puppet. Yeah.
And other times they use blue screen to show her being a hand puppet, but in front of footage of a giant Bagoonie. But right after Mokey shrinks is one of those times where we get a weird commercial break fade out, and we come back and we're in the middle of an Uncle Traveling Matt postcard.
Do they end it with somebody saying, and that's the postcard? I don't remember. Okay.
Also in a weird way, though.
Okay.
Because in this postcard, he has made a horrifying discovery. Young silly creatures play with shrunken silly creatures.
This one was kind of good, I thought, actually.
These are Barbie dolls and other dolls that are laying around. And he thinks that the silly creatures are frozen in place and shrunken down and just being toyed with. He tries to take care of one of the dolls, but the kids come back and they want to play with him because they think he's a doll, and they put him in a dress.
They have such unhinged looks on their faces when they come back in. Just like bloodlust.
Yeah, they see him and they're immediately like, we're going to torture this dude. But when it pulls out, Boober was reading the postcard for some reason, even though Gobo is holding it.
Yeah. You're right there.
Yeah, but after we hear Uncle Traveling Matt's narration trail off, we hear Boober's voice saying your Uncle Traveling Matt. So they don't really explain it. That's just something they decided to do, I guess, while waiting for Mokey and Red to come back.
They're just really bored.
Mm-hmm. And they still need a beanstalk for their play.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, they're going to rehearse without it until Bagoonie once again summons Mokey back to his side. On the way, Mokey shrinks a bit again, struck by another lightning effect. And this time is when Bagoonie magically makes an entire house appear, a nice little cottage.
Yeah. Weird. It feels weird to see an actual house down there.
Even weirder that Mokey knows what it is.
Yeah.
She knows it's a cottage and suggests that it could use some curtains. Bagoonie asks what her favorite color is, and she says pink with yellow stripes, which, come on, Mokey. You know that's not a favorite color. If I asked you, Sam, what's your favorite color, and you said red with blue polka dots, I'd be like, stop. Go back, re-answer the question.
It does take Bagoonie a long time to make these curtains, too, compared to the entire house, which is weird. Like maybe the stripes through them.
Oh, God, I had a solid in mind. Patterns take longer. Well, Mokey once again tells Bagoonie that she needs to leave and get the beanstalk. So she, goes. The puppet show.
She goes and does the same thing that she already did the one time already.
Yes. At the puppet show, the crowd is growing restless. Mokey gets back and is noticeably smaller. She asks if someone raised the stage.
She's teeny tiny.
Boober announces the show must be postponed due to lack of beanstalk. And hey, guess what happens? Bagoonie beckons Mokey back again.
Yeah, what the fuck's going on here?
Red chases after her this time, though. And Mokey gets to Bagoonie again. And now she's even tinier. This is her Gorg puppet size.
Yeah.
Bagoonie wants Mokey to go inside the house. Check it out. Just take a look.
This part's creepy.
Mm-hmm. Because she does go inside. And once she's inside, she looks around and realizes, oh, this house is for me. And he closes the door and locks her in. We cut away from the drama to see that Doc's dishwasher is overflowing. He wants help from Sprocket, but Sprocket doesn't have time. He's got to play with Marigold.
And Doc says, how can a dog not have time? That's a good question.
I also, I wonder if Doc's just using the wrong kind of soap, because this is what happens if you put regular dish soap in a dishwasher.
It bubbles up like that?
It'll go all over your floor.
Well, have you done that before?
Maybe.
Okay. Why?
Because, Sam, when I was
like
13.
Okay, how old? 13. That's fine. That's fine.
It does
say no more.
The story gets
Say no
worse,
more.
but not for me.
Okay.
When I was 13 or something, I was at home.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was at home. My mom was not at home.
Okay.
The dishes were dirty. We needed to wash them.
Dish soap. It says dish on the soap.
Well, and we were out of dishwasher detergent, Sam.
Sure.
And so I feel like I consulted with my dad. Hey, what do you think? Should we just squirt this in there? We did. And I'd say about 5 minutes later, walk in the kitchen, and there's just bubbles everywhere.
Oh no!
It was a bad time.
I mean, did anything get ruined?
No. It wasn't. Thankfully,
It's just bubbles.
Yes, it was just the bubbles coming out. It wasn't flooding or anything. But
I mean, that's kind of fun in a horrible way. You're also assuming your dad wasn't 14, right? So
yes, me and my dad are not the same
better.
age.
He should have known better.
Yes. Yep, but he didn't apparently. But we both learned a lesson that day.
Did your mom ever find out?
I think we told her.
Oh, okay.
Because there was probably like 6 towels in the laundry all of a sudden of like, why are there so many towels?
You didn't wash the towels? I bet you did.
We probably would have put the wrong soap in there too.
Yeah, you would have put.
Like, oh, is this okay? I just threw a bar of soap in the washing machine. Is that fine? We're like cavemen trying to figure out how to do simple household chores.
I think you did a lot better than a caveman would do. A caveman wouldn't even clock what a dishwasher was.
Thank you, Sam. I'm glad to feel better than a caveman. Well, down in Fraggle Rock, Mokey is trapped in the house, but Red very easily frees her.
Yeah, she just kicks Bagooni's ass, basically.
She just sort of threatens Bagooni and then opens the door, which I guess wasn't locked in any real way, maybe just for Mokey. Yeah, I was frustrated by how simple Red just kind of went like, boop, Mokey, run.
Yeah, Bagooni's powers seem like weirdly limited in an unspecified way.
Right, like, do you think he could have made a magical door? Like, he made the door disappear. There was no way out.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Or he just is such a basket case that he doesn't know. He can't shoot like magic missiles or anything. Like, there's nothing he could have done. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he has any defensive.
You can make a whole cottage appear out of nowhere. I feel like you can do almost anything.
Yeah.
But Red starts fighting Bagooni as he tries to chase down Mokey. Mokey sees some doozers driving by and hops into one of their carts.
This part was neat.
Yeah, and Bagooni jumps backstage looking for Mokey. So all the other Fraggles get to meet Bagooni for the first time. And Mokey, pulls up in front of the play in her little doozer cart and tries to call out to her friends, but no one can hear her.
Too tiny.
Except Bagooni hears her. And so he runs, grabs her, and they have to yell at Bagooni to put her down. And she has to yell at Bagooni and say, Bagooni, I don't want to be your friend anymore. You don't care about me at all. And as she starts to stand up for herself, we start to see the puppets switching out again. We see tiny Gorg puppet, we see slightly smaller hand puppet, and then we see final full-sized Mokey puppet.
Because her no has broken his spell.
And they drop another moral here saying, if all you do is give and give and give, you'll eventually have nothing left to take. And then they immediately ask Bagooni to do something for them.
Then they force Bagooni to work for them, yeah.
The line is, Bagooni, you're magic. Grow us a beanstalk.
Or else.
He takes a little bit of convincing, but then, boom, he makes a massive beanstalk, and presumably the puppet show is a rousing success.
I guess so.
We don't get to see it, though.
Yeah, we don't ever really get to Bagooni to be like, oh, I guess I am good at something or anything like that either. He's just like forced into a job, I suppose.
Yeah, and clearly not kept around as a friend.
Nope.
And then we cut back to Doc, who is loading his dishwasher, which drops and breaks every dish he owns.
And he says that. I broke every dish I own.
As when Sprocket comes back, all worn out from playing with Marigold all day.
Yeah, I wrote Sprocket's fucked out.
Oh, that's the worst words you've ever said. You've said a lot of bad words on this podcast, but that's the worst. But this is another moral being dropped where Doc says, don't give in to her all the time. Tell her to come back after dinner.
You gotta play hard to get, Sprocket.
So he puts some headphones on Sprocket so he can't hear Marigold barking.
Yeah, weird ending.
Yeah. Does not actually, show Sprocket standing up for himself or rejecting Marigold.
He makes his dad do it.
Yeah, and it's like, here, you can reject her if you can't hear her. So yeah, they put on some headphones and he gets to listen to some old-timey radio.
Yeah, I thought he was listening to the doo-wop song. He wasn't, was he? The one from earlier in the episode?
Oh, maybe.
Or no, yeah. Was this the Do Up Song episode? Yeah.
Yeah, because
He was. I don't think he was, but it seemed like he was.
I think he might be, because the lyrics,
Hmm.
I'll wrap my heart in ribbons just for you, is one of the lines that is coming over. But it sounds like it's like an actual, it's not Mokey singing it.
What the hell? Can Fraggles just like pick up the radio in their heads? Like Bumblebee in the Transformers movies? That's really weird.
Yeah, if you search those lyrics on Google, the only thing that comes up is Fraggle Rock, I'd Give My Soul. So
What the heck? And that's what he hears on the thing?
I guess so.
What a conspiracy.
Yeah, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're blue, I'll wrap my heart in ribbons just for you. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's true. Anything you ask, I'll say I do. So yeah,
What?
Sprocket is hearing the song that Mokey sang earlier, but he's hearing like an actual like 40s style musician singing it.
What does this mean?
I don't know, but it does feel important.
Yeah, it feels like a huge revelation of some sort.
I don't know what it means. Well, if you have any ideas, let us know, because there is a song, an old-timey song, called Gonna Wrap My Heart in Ribbons. It's a Christmas song.
Oh.
But it's not the same song we're hearing, I don't think. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
them
it
being
is.
able to pick up radio waves
Yeah.
explains why they dream together, too.
Hmm.
They're Wi-Fi connected to each other.
Yeah. So I'd say he was either hearing, looking at the lyrics of the actual song, Wrap My Heart in Ribbons, there is not a part that says Wrap My Heart in Ribbons just for you. It says Gonna Wrap My Heart in Ribbons and hang it on your Christmas tree, which sounds way more gruesome.
Yeah, that sounds like Silent Night, Deadly Night.
So yeah, we've uncovered a very weird mystery there that I don't think will ever be handled in any real way.
No.
But-
What are these Fraggles up
But
to?
what would you rate that episode, Sam?
I gave that one 2.5 stars. I found it unpleasant to watch in some capacity. I just really didn't like Bagooni's whole attitude. And then I kind of didn't like that at the end they weren't like, get out of here, Bagooni. Like some people want to take advantage of you. Like it was so weird to me that the moral didn't become more about like relationships, even though I understand why it didn't.
Yeah.
Like it just felt so specific. And then for them to just be like, gotta stand up for yourself was kind of soft compared to what he did, which was
Right.
horrible.
I think it's a loose moral there that I think
Yeah.
they don't reckon with the Bagoonie.
But I really liked the puppet show stuff. I loved that Boober had a parasite in his brain.
Or a living puppet that was taking over control of his arm.
Yeah, because at the end it does say like, there's a big world out there waiting for me. And Boober's like, well, then go.
Well, next up we have A Dark and Stormy Night from May 20th, 1985, written by past guest of the podcast, Sujith Verghese, directed by Norman Campbell. Also, I often say, friend of the podcast, past guest of the podcast, if you have not heard that episode, that is episode 91 of our podcasts. So if you want to go back and listen to our interview with Sujith Verghese all about his time working on Fraggle Rock, go listen to it. It's a good
It
chat.
sounds so fun. I am so jealous of it.
Opening up this episode, Sprocket's having a nightmare. And Doc has to wake him up. And this is every night of my goddamn life.
Your dog has nightmares?
Yep. And makes
Oh,
noises
no.
very similar to Sprocket, where she's just like, boof, boof, boof,
Oh,
boof. And we're like, Ginny, wake up, you're
no.
fine.
Poor baby. Is she eating too many pickled gherkins?
She has 0 pickled gherkins. So
Interesting. There there. She heard you say pickled gherkins.
she got all excited.
This group of episodes, I feel like Doc is so nice in them. He doesn't get really like super mad, especially like he's so nice to Sprocket, which he usually is,
Yeah, even in the last
but he
episode
feels
where
so
he's mad
patient.
that he's spending all his time with Marigold, he's more worried about Sprocket like spending too much
Yeah.
time as opposed to Sprocket, you should have been here helping me out with my weird dishwasher.
Yeah, maybe Doc's doctor told him that he had to chill out a little bit. Getting hard on the old heart.
Yeah, he's like,
screaming so much.
we're gonna have a heart attack if you keep this up.
You're so mad at your dog.
And your neighbor Ned, who is your friend, you say?
He has a fun conversation with Ned later in this episode, but we'll get into that eventually.
But Doc says that Sprocket's been dreaming of ghosts and goblins, and now he thinks the workshop is haunted.
Maybe he's been playing the game Ghosts and Goblins. You know?
Was that available on the Apple II?
Oh, yeah. He probably doesn't have a Super Nintendo.
Probably not.
Well, they don't
exist yet.
Also, that game doesn't probably exist yet, so never mind. That's where Ghosts and Goblins got the idea.
The concept of Ghosts and Goblins together never existed before Fraggle Rock.
That's why at the beginning of Ghosts and Goblins it says, a dog dreamt all of this.
Big thanks to Sprocket, our creative lead on this project. So Doc decides he's going to invent a ghost detector to prove that the workshop is not haunted. And of course, that means we're transitioning down to Fraggle Rock now. Gobo's got his great hat on. I think this is the one you're...
Blossom hat. This is the Blossom hat. The bejeweled, like the bedazzled hat, like the girl from Blossom from Blossom.
This is where they got the idea.
It's such a bad hat. I feel like this hat made me like the episode less because I was just like...
Too distracted by the hat?
Your hats are usually okay, even if they're a little dorky, but this one is not good.
Well, don't worry. There's an even dorkier hat sitting nearby because this is the scene where Gobo's all mopey because apparently there's nothing left to explore in the rock. And while he's moping around, Wembley seems to be polishing up a hat.
He's like dusting his hat collection or something.
And it's like a Scarlet Pimpernel hat.
He's got a big pirate hat.
Yeah. It's like this big red fancy hat with a feather in it. And I guess Wembley's in charge of cleaning Gobo's hat collection.
Yeah. Yeah, there should be a crossover, like an episode where where Gobo breaks into the American Girl doll shop that he steals all these
That's where he gets them all
from.
Oh, there should be an episode where Wembley like puts on one of Gobo's hats and he feels suddenly like, oh,
bold. This is where he's getting his.
This is the power. I feel great about myself now.
The hats are confidence.
But Wembley reminds Gobo that Mokey needs an extra radish today. And Gobo says, that's all I'm good for anymore.
Yeah, poor guy.
Which also, like, Mokey's one job is getting radishes.
Yeah, but I guess once you don't have any other job, your job has to be getting radishes, maybe.
But also, later on in this episode, we see Mokey going to get radishes.
Well,
with Red.
I know, but it's like Sim Ant or something. Like the default job that you can set is to gather food. So their default job is to gather food. Okay. But you could be an explorer. But if there's nothing left to explore,
you gotta get radishes.
Then your little internal job board switches to get food.
I'm just saying. I think Mokey and Red probably could have got the one extra radish later on when they went to the garden.
That's true. I think he does say like Mokey said we need an extra radish, and the answer to that should be then Mokey should go get a radish. That's her job.
Well, as Gobo travels up to the Gorg world, he sees that the Gorgs are going on a trip to their swampy cottage somewhere. Must not be that far away, based on how long.
Perhaps at the swamp we saw them at.
Maybe. But he is excited to hear that the Gorgs are leaving because this solves his problem of exploring a brand new place. But for some reason, when he gets back to the rock and he's packing up to leave, he won't tell his friends where he's going to go.
He won't tell him where he's going?
Not at first.
Okay.
When he's packing up, they're like, you're going on an expedition? Where are you going to go? He's like, I wish I could tell you, but I can't. And then eventually he just decides, like, you know what? Fine. I'll tell you. That tunnel that I found, remember, long time ago, that goes to the Gorg's castle, I'm going to go in there and explore the Gorg's castle.
Right. Which immediately leads to a very similar misunderstanding where then they won't let him tell them that the Gorgs aren't there.
Right. They think he's the bravest Fraggle who's ever lived. He's a true hero, all this stuff. And he tries to say, no, the Gorgs aren't going to be there. This is really easy for me. But they're all like, we're going to go tell every Fraggle that Gobo's the bravest Fraggle in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think it feels weird that he didn't just pretend like he was brave. It seems like it would be in Gobo's personality to be like, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, I really like the third time that they shut him down, I was waiting for him to just be like, yeah, you know what?
Fine.
I am the bravest Fraggle.
Yeah.
Worth noting, the tunnel that he found to the Gorg's castle was from the episode Sir Hubris and the Gorgs, which was also written by Sujith Verghese.
Oh, yeah. And then there's the Sir Hubris painting that falls down in front of... That always reminds me of Trogdor, the little Sir Hubris guy who looks like the villagers,
one of the villagers
that get burninated. Yeah.
The problem is, if I'm remembering this correctly, Didn't the Fraggle tunnel lead to a hole on the mantle?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it did.
I thought so. I thought the way they got in the last
Got
time
'em.
was onto the mantle. I didn't go back and watch Sir Hubris and the Gorgs to double check, but that's what
Yeah.
I remembered.
I hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Well, Pa and Junior start to have a chat that seems at first like we're going to hear Junior get the sex talk.
Yeah, which is weird.
And
In relation to whom would the sex talk be for? Or is he just saying, I'm going to go have sex with your mom?
that's kind of what it seemed like. He's like, Junior, we need to have a chat. Gorg to
That
Gorg.
would be funny. That would be funny if it was like, there comes a time in every Gorg's life when...
You have to learn that
and
your
then it
parents
just
have
turns
sex.
and then it just turns into like, and I'm going to go have sex. I'm talking about me.
I'm going to teach you what sex is, and I'm going to go have it, just so you know. Worth noting while we're talking about Pa a little bit, I was also, again, watching those DVD special features, and Jerry Nelson is describing his voices that he, like the performances he does on Fraggle Rock, and says that Gobo's voice is kind of just an older Robin the Frog.
Uh-huh.
And he says that Pa Gorg is sort of his Rolf the Dog voice.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if he
okay.
was going to do a Rolf the Dog, it would sound like Pa.
He always kind of reminds me of like a different take on Foghorn Leghorn. I know it's not the same accent,
Right.
but he just is like, he has the same character of almost as Foghorn Leghorn.
Well, and starting off sentences with like, boy, come over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. He's like overly punitive and confusing and like hypocritical, just like Foghorn Leghorn.
Well, this is the real chat that Pa and Junior have, is that Pa and Ma are going off to the cottage by themselves, and Junior gets to stay alone for the first time ever.
So you just did a really good job of getting across, I feel like, in the script, how exciting it is to be home alone.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
like, getting to eat whatever snack you want really resonated with me, because even now when Rachel's gone, I'm like, I'm going to order a pizza with so much jalapenos on it and I'm going to hurt myself so bad.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited.
I never eat worse food than when my wife is out of town.
Yeah,
like,
worse food and over the sink. And it's like, what? Good thing this isn't my whole life, because I don't know what I would become.
It is just like you start, packing it in. Like, and there's nothing I could eat that way when she's in town.
Sure.
She wouldn't say, hey, don't do that.
Yeah, it is weird.
But like something about like you're home alone for the first time in a while and you're like, I have to eat everything that exists in my house.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't want to necessarily eat a pizza with a bunch of jalapenos on it every day. But I know she wouldn't want, like...
She wouldn't want
I
a bunch
don't
of jalapenos, so you see this as an opportunity to go overboard.
Yeah, but when we get pizzas, we get 2 small pizzas that each have whatever we want on
So
them.
you could
So
always
it's
do
not-
this.
And I do, but then I get a big one
Oh, okay.
with a stuffed crust and with... She doesn't like stuffed
dang.
crust, which is a major
But
bone
again,
of
if you're getting
contention.
different pizzas, it doesn't matter.
You can't get a small stuffed crust, I don't think.
Like it's impossible.
that's the
Technology
issue.
doesn't exist.
I don't think they've cracked it yet.
Well, yes, I completely understand. And the song we have coming up, I think, perfectly highlights what it feels like to be alone.
Yeah, and I thought about this a lot when I was in COVID quarantine too, because I was watching Mystery Science Theater, and I was like, I can watch whatever I want. And then I thought, I know I can't watch whatever I want anyway, because she always asks me what I want to watch,
Right.
and I always say I don't care, because I don't. But when you're by yourself, it's just like I get to be 12 again. Yeah.
Well, Junior,
And man, when I was in quarantine,
no, go for it.
When I was in quarantine, I went upstairs. The house was so messy, so she was being 12 again too. You know, it's like,
Well,
what have you done up
I mean,
here?
she was also sick.
No. When I was sick and
I
she
see,
wasn't.
I see.
When she was sick and I was.
I thought you were dragging her for what she did while she was sick.
No. House is spotless, though. I
Wow.
gotta say.
Calling out your wife on a podcast.
She doesn't listen to this one.
You're like whatever the opposite of a wife guy is.
Yeah, I'm like the old version of a wife guy who hates their wife. What was that like on like I Love Lucy?
There's a
or
good
whatever,
out of
where you're just
context sentence from Sam.
Oh, like those old shows where it's just like, my wife's such a fucking pain in the ass. Which was every show.
Well, let's see. Where's the cut point in that conversation? Probably a few minutes ago. So Junior is left in charge of guarding the castle, and most importantly, the Gorg crown jewel, which is just a solid black orb.
Does anything become of this? Because I kept expecting, I thought at the end of the episode, like, Pa would like put it in his mouth and be gum. But that doesn't happen, does it?
I don't think that happens.
Okay.
I think it is just their. I think maybe the thing is that they only have one crown jewel, and it's just a black orb, as opposed to like the crown jewels are normally a
Yeah.
series of actually very elaborate crowns and stuff with jewels all over them.
Yeah.
And this is just their one.
I did like that it was a black orb.
Mhm.
I thought that was fun.
But it does also make it seem like it must have some sort of weird power or mystery to it because it is just a
Yeah.
black orb. Turns out this is Ma and Pa's second honeymoon they're going away for. And they inform Junior that he needs to carry the luggage. And he's like, Pa, I thought I wasn't going. And he's like, you're going, but you're not staying.
I loved that. Then he seems to run all the way back home. Like,
I mean, he's got to get home to have his fun night.
does he pull the cart too?
He probably does.
He must pull the cart.
But before they
Wow.
leave, Ma has to set up a very important plot point that comes out of nowhere and says, Junior, don't make any garlic popcorn while we're gone. It upsets your tummy and you start seeing things.
Okay, but the start seeing things, yeah, for sure.
Very specific.
But when I do text Rachel, I'm eating pizza, she always texts me back, you're gonna get hurt. So, and I always do.
I do like
so that's
that
real.
you're texting her while being somewhat sneaky.
Oh, you know.
Well, Junior gets back home alone, and this is where we get the greatest, possibly Junior song we've ever seen. Big Boy Now.
Yeah.
A celebration
really good one.
of being a brave big boy who gets the house all to himself. And there's really nothing to it beyond that. That's the whole song.
It's just a good song. It's not annoying like his other songs are. He doesn't go dum-de-dum or anything like
No
that.
dum-de-dum. But at the end, he remembers he's supposed to protect the crown jewel, so he'll find a safe space for it.
I actually think Junior's doing a great job in this episode.
He's doing okay.
He's not being incompetent really or anything.
There's one pretty big moment, I think, of incompetence coming up.
Okay. Is it when he explodes the whole house?
Well, that's one of them. But
Oh,
Gobo
okay.
and Wembley get into the Gorg Castle through the wall, and this is when Junior returns with a treasure chest for the jewel, which he sits in the middle of the floor with the box wide open.
The open part, okay, that is interesting. I don't know why he did
Why
that.
would you bother putting it in a treasure chest if you're not going
Yeah.
to close the treasure chest?
Why can't you just put it in your pocket? You know?
Yeah, it was.
Put it in your shoe.
I think it was already in his pocket. It's safer there
Mhm.
than in a treasure
Mhm.
chest open in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, you're 30 feet tall, my friend.
It's like later on in this episode, he tries to bait the thief into being like, oh no, look, I put the ball in the box. I hope no one steals it. But that's essentially what he did anyways.
Yeah. And then when he took it inside, I was like, oh, I thought you were going to leave it outside so the guy would come get
Nope.
it faster.
Nope. The weirdest thing that happens in this episode multiple times is that people apparently can't see each other across a room.
Uh-huh.
Because Gobo and Wembley, we see them come in through the hole in the wall. Then we see Junior set the treasure chest down in the room. And it turns out Gobo and Wembley didn't see him do that.
Yeah, they were just looking over there.
Yeah.
They didn't hear the 30-foot tall guy stomp into the room.
No, because
Put the
suddenly
thing down and go, I'm putting this thing here.
Wembley's like, where'd this treasure chest come from? This wasn't here before.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were doing for that 20 seconds while Junior set that down, but
Yeah. If they had, like, maybe they would have been like, maybe they could have been like, oh, we got to go back in the cave to get something real quick. Or
Yeah.
like, but no.
But Gobo steals the crown jewel because he's a big jerk. And just basically is like, oh, Gorg artifact. We should take this.
Yeah, this is not nice.
No. This is not like he found something and didn't think it was valuable. Like he just found a rock and was like, this is a cool rock. Let's take it back to Fraggle Rock. This is, he sees a thing in a treasure chest, says this must be an ancient Gorg artifact, and goes, yoink.
We're taking it. Yep.
But throughout all of this, Wembley is freaking out because he's,
Maybe it was a commentary. I mean, honestly, maybe it was a commentary highlighting like how museums are kind of fucked up, you know?
yeah, but I don't feel like it goes far enough to really be a commentary.
Yeah. That's
I
true.
think
that would be a good episode. Though.
Yeah, I think it is true. Like if we had this, reckoning in Fraggle Rock of, whoa, why do you have all these things? These aren't yours. But this is not that episode. This
Right.
one is just Wembley being scared because of all the weird noises, and he thinks the castle is haunted. Remember Sprocket, that dog who also thought his workshop was haunted? It's like
Same
that.
guy. Another guy thinks the same thing.
Forgot to mention this part earlier, but Sam mentioned it in his little summary. Mokey and Red, they hear the Gorgs talking about leaving as well. And that's when they hear that the castle's going to be empty. And so they realize, oh, Gobo's a liar. He told us he
Yeah.
was going to be a brave hero. And yet He is not. He's just going to an empty castle.
It's just funny because he didn't mean to lie.
No, but they immediately
really
jump
make it
to,
I guess it's like a jump to conclusions episode, I suppose. But
which is fine. But again, the payoff is a little weak.
yeah.
And this is where that comes back to roost, because these scary noises that they were hearing were Red and Mokey. Mostly Red, I believe.
Mhm.
And Red is celebrating scaring Gobo and Wembley at this point and decides, you know what? I want to go in that castle because I want to play with that black ball.
Oh, is that why she does?
She says, I want to play with that
Okay.
black ball. And the way they get Boober to come along with them is they mention, there's probably a Gorg pantry with giant food.
I loved that. He was like, it must be huge.
Would have been great to see that.
Yeah.
We don't. But back in the Gorg castle, Wembley's still losing it. So Gobo pulls out a postcard to calm down Wembley.
Wembley is he's got patience for the postcard still. About the only
Anything
person
Gobo
that's like-
does, I think Wembley has patience for.
Yeah. Man, this is a weird postcard though, huh?
Mm-hmm. Uncle Traveling Matt is astounded to discover that there are Gorgs in outer space.
Oh, he already thought this though.
Well, he thought there used to be Gorgs because he saw the Gorg
Oh,
castle
right.
and thought,
He sees.
at one point there was Gorgs in this world.
Now he sees the fur coat and it is confirmed.
Yes,
I
he
get
sees a mother and daughter leaving their house in fur coats and hats and assumes those are Gorgs. And so he breaks into their house after they leave. While he's in there, the phone rings and startles him. And then a grandfather clock goes off and startles him again. And he backs up and bumps into a very large man in a very big fur coat and hat. And gets scared because he thinks that's a Gorg and says...
And the man looks like he's going to beat him up.
He also looks like Jabba in the first version of Star Wars,
Yeah,
where
he
Jabba was just a
does.
guy in a furry vest.
This is a funny family of people who love fur coats
They
also.
fucking love fur coats.
I like at the beginning of this postcard because it just seems like everybody's sick of them. At the beginning, the way that it's introduced is Matt goes, the other day.
Like, let's get this one out of the way.
Yeah. So I guess that has something to do with ghosts.
I mean, it's basically just like a
sort of.
one-to-one of
Yeah,
Gobo's
exactly what's happening.
situation. Because he's like,
You're
I guess
right.
I'll map the castle from memory. So his whole thing
Yeah.
is that he was going to map a castle
Yeah.
of the Gorgs, but then
Oh,
got
wow.
scared and left. So it's
That's where he got
exactly
the
what's
idea.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But in the castle, Junior messes up his popcorn by not using enough peanut butter or using too much peanut butter. I don't remember.
Or the peanut butter is just incidental and was next to the thing that exploded.
Yeah. Gobo goes somewhere at this point. I don't really remember where.
No, I don't either.
But while he's missing, Wembley has fallen asleep, presumably because of the postcard. While he's sleeping, in the treasure chest, Red sneaks up and steals the crown jewel.
Mhm.
The popcorn explodes. The portrait falls off the wall in front of the Fraggle hole. At this point, Gobo returns to Wembley's side, and Wembley says, it might be a herd of Gorgs coming to roast our giblets. And Junior comes back, discovers that the crown jewel has been stolen. He nervously looks for the thief, while the Fraggles all startle each other because they, again, can't see each other across a room. They've all been in this
Yeah.
one room the whole time.
With nothing in it, they make a point to say there's nothing in this room because Mom and Pa took it all with them
Yeah.
they took all the furniture and everything.
But Gobo and Wembley get scared, I think, just by the noise of the other Fraggles. I don't think they see them and get scared.
Oh.
It's very strange. But Gobo and Wembley jump into the treasure chest. Junior
Right.
opens it, gets scared, throws his plunger, which hits the clock. The jewel comes rolling out of the grandfather clock because I think Boober put it away in there.
Red or somebody put it in the clock for some
And
reason.
so it's just
yeah.
getting so messy. This whole...
They walk it like 4 steps over to the clock and they're like, we'll put it in the clock.
Yeah, it's like this weird
Mhm.
farcical episode that just kind of like, it's hard to follow.
Yeah, it's also like, I think I said there's like another episode that was almost like a Frasier,
Mm-hmm.
like comedy of manners thing, and this is similar where it's not quite right.
Mhm.
But Frasier didn't exist yet, so they didn't have the template. And they invented the comedy of errors.
That's true. But yeah, it just kind of, that part sort of wraps up. Everyone sees each other and is like, oh, hey, it was just you.
I did kind of like that,
Like-
that they were just like, oh, I know you and you know us. We are not interesting to each other anymore. We're just friends now.
Mhm. And right at that moment is when they see a shadow outside the window of the castle.
Yes.
Bum, bum,
and then
bum.
the new plot starts.
With about 6 minutes left of the episode.
Yeah.
Cutting back to Doc and Sprocket, Doc is on the phone with Ned, where he is revealing to Ned that he invented or built a fake ghost detector, so Sprocket would think it was working.
Yeah. I wrote, just calling your best pal to talk about the fake ghost detector you built to make your dog feel better.
This premise also feels like Doc could build a real ghost detector if he wanted to, but this gets the job done for now.
But the ghosts aren't real, so it would always be a fake.
Maybe
ghost
Doc
detector,
thinks
right?
ghosts are real.
Okay, I guess it's unclear, isn't it? I don't know.
Regardless, this alarm does go off, which
Yeah,
maybe means ghosts
does that
are
mean?
in the workshop.
But Doc doesn't think it does.
Well, not for now, at least.
Right.
For now, we cut back to the Gorg Castle. Gobo has an idea, and this is when Junior wanders out with the crown jewel chest and pretends he's not scared. Everything's fine, and he's just going to go to bed to try and lure in the thief. And when he goes back inside, Pa Gorg sneaks in a little cloak, and the Fraggles trip him with a tripwire. Turns out, Pa is extremely proud of Junior.
That was kind of sweet. I liked it.
I thought it was all right. I wish there was like some hint that this might happen earlier, but yeah, he was helping him fulfill his ancient rite of passage of protecting the crown jewel, a ritual which he chose to ruin his second honeymoon for. Because when they first came in, I was like, oh, Ma and Pa were plotting.
I thought she was in on it too, which would have been nice if she had been.
She
in
had
on
no
it too.
idea. Junior immediately tells Pa that he had help from the Fraggles, which is an interesting, choice on his part.
Yeah, I wouldn't mention that if I was him.
No, because it does not work out for him. Ma and Pa are not happy the Fraggles are there. And as they're running away, this is when Gobo and Red have a very brief discussion about Gobo lying to them about being a hero. And he just is like, hey, I didn't say that. And Red's like, oh, I guess we weren't listening. And they're like, yeah, okay, let's go. And he says, this way, we all got to be heroes.
Yeah. Huh?
I'm not sure you were heroes at all.
Wembley didn't. Boober didn't. I mean, I guess they pulled the tripwire.
You tripped Pa Gorg, who was pretending to be a thief. I don't know if that counts as being a hero.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's how that plot line ends. Because upstairs with Doc and Sprocket, Doc says there was a short circuit on the detector, and that's why it went off. So he unplugs it, but then says, Sprocket, there are no ghosts. Unless a ghost caused the short circuit.
And then the episode just ends.
Yep, episode over.
I don't want to downplay how beautiful this ghost detector is.
It's very good.
It is the nicest thing he's ever built by a million miles. It looks professionally done. Welding. I mean, it's beautiful.
It almost looks like something he just had in the closet already. And was like, oh yeah, Sprocket, here's my ghost detector.
Yeah.
Really just like a CB radio.
This episode I feel like it could have been a lot of different really great episodes. Instead it was like one silly episode, but I actually can't really be that mad at it. It didn't bother me as much as other silly episodes do.
Yeah, same. I think it's definitely got some flaws in it feels like a script that was probably twice as long and then had to be whittled down because so many of these things just sort of resolve themselves really easily.
Yeah. Or maybe there was parts where it's like Gobo could have been lying or whatever, but that would maybe make the episode too serious or something, and that's just not what it was supposed to be.
Or it was like, oh, we actually don't have time. We need to cut a plot line to save time in this episode. Let's cut the part where Gobo acts like a hero.
Right. Yeah. And then like the rite of passage, like Pa trying to steal the jewel could have been a whole episode too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I can't be mad at it. And I thought about this a lot in this batch of episodes in particular, because I feel like when a Fraggle and a Gorg or a Fraggle and a Doozer are hanging out, there's just something like better about
There's a new
episodes.
energy to it that I think definitely adds something to, change things up a little bit from just our normal Fraggles being Fraggles.
I think you're right too. Like last episode, you mentioned where they go from here.
Mm,
It is a little bit like where there is no danger really with Junior anymore. They just straight up have a conversation with
Yeah.
him that is like normal, and they all are just like immediately understand that they are not adversarial. So it is kind of like tricky to make an episode where Gobo is a hero in a post Fraggle Gorg friendship world.
I think it is also, though, part of that trickiness is that if they had overheard the plans, which are secret from them, of Ma and Pa are leaving, but Junior's staying behind,
Mm-hmm.
that's still not a threat, really.
Right, exactly.
Like, it's only a
Yeah.
threat because they hear mysterious noises and aren't sure what they are. But the
Yeah.
idea of, like, setting up the episode of no one's going to be there, the hero of the episode can go explore freely, and then the audience learns that's not the case. It actually,
Yeah.
it feels like it's supposed to be dangerous that Junior is staying
Yeah.
behind because he can catch the explorers. When, one, we've seen it's not going to be dangerous, and two, the payoff also means it's not dangerous. So it's interesting to lay that out as the threat of the episode.
Yeah. Maybe if Junior and Ma had to go get a haircut or something. I don't know. There's also no other human, like there's no other people.
Man, when
in
they were
their
talking about
world.
heading out on
So,
vacation, I was like, where could they possibly go?
What are you doing? You're gonna go hang out with Mooch McNasty or whatever his name is, and and then leave Pa alone, and maybe it's like a mouse hunt situation. That could
Where
be
they just
fun, but also
torture
sounds
Pa while
hard.
he's home alone, and Ma
Yeah.
and Junior come back and they're like, what happened here? Why did you destroy the castle?
Yeah, they think he's a ghost. Maybe he's got like
Mm.
a spa facial mask on or something. Like he's relaxing at home. I don't know, but it was still. I gave it 2.5 stars because I wasn't like I want this to be over. I was just like this episode's crazy.
Well, getting to our last episode of this episode, and also of the season of Fraggle Rock, we have Gunge, the Great and Glorious, which aired on May 27th, 1985, written by Laura Phillips and directed by Eric Till. Doc is feeding Sprocket, but Sprocket is refusing to eat, and he hands Doc a magazine. He wants Rover's Royal Repast, a really fancy dog food.
I thought this in general was a great set of episodes for Doc and Sprocket. They're silly and that don't necessarily need to be there,
Mm.
but it was still like all of their storylines at least made sense, which I guess is a pretty low bar.
They all made sense.
but-
I do miss them impacting the Fraggles at all. Like, even when we had
Yeah.
the piles of trash where
Right.
Gobo had to run out there, at least that was something. We
Yeah.
don't see Gobo going to get his mail anymore. We don't see Doc even getting the postcards.
Yeah, we could just assume Sprocket just like hands it to Gobo at this point.
Right. Like, we haven't heard who's this Gobo Fraggle?
Yeah.
So I kind of miss that dynamic. It sort of is like that same thing with the Gorgs of where do you go from here? It sort of feels like they made Sprocket and Gobo friends, and they're like, okay, well, they never get to interact ever again.
Yeah.
Which I know we have some episodes coming up where that is not true, but it feels like it's been so long since we've seen any sort of Gobo having to go out and get a postcard. But he
Mhm.
always has them. Well, down in Fraggle Rock, Philo and Gunge are exploring the rock to make Marjorie a necklace of Magegi vines.
That's sweet.
And they ask Wembley for directions, which of course is a mistake because Wembley doesn't even know where he is at the moment. Red comes in to save Wembley and pull him away from Philo and Gunge. And so Philo and Gunge decide, you know what, let's split up to go find the vines, and we'll meet back at the trash heap. Gotta say, I love a Philo and Gunge episode, and the fact
They're so
that it's also
great.
a Doozer episode.
Yeah, this is a really good one.
The Doozers are all gathered for their very important reason, as they say. And this is when Architect is teaching about the unique chapter in Doozer history, back when the Doozers had a king. They didn't spend all their time building. They had to celebrate festivals for the king, with endless singing and dancing. And it was not a happy time.
I'd love to know the situation that occurred back then that led to a disgusting rat creature being their king.
There's definitely some unexplored lore here,
Yeah.
because as much as they go back and forth on it, it does seem like Gunge was maybe their king. Or at least
Or like
Gunge's,
an ancestor of Gunge or something.
Gunge's dad
right?
was the Doozer
Yeah.
King. Much like the Fraggles histories that we've learned, this feels counter to the episode we just watched about the Cavern of Lost
That's true.
whatevers.
Yeah, because I mean, unless it's been a really, really, I mean, I guess it's been maybe a crazy long time.
Yeah, the timelines are always unclear on Fraggle Rock, but the idea that there's a lost cavern where the original Doozers were building their towers, but then also there is a cave, and the drawing is in this area of Fraggle Rock, which means I guess that happened after the Cavern of Lost Dreams.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm no archaeologist.
I think it's wild that they had like a fake wall built over this thing.
Yeah. Just
why?
for the reveal, I guess. Or maybe to protect it. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
But they do say it's important to learn about this frivolous chapter in our history. And we came down here so that we can look upon the face of that king. And they unveil the cave painting that looks exactly like Gunge.
He is right around the corner, and he says, I just got a strange feeling, as if my life will never be the same when I turn this corner. Boy, that's dumb.
So, of course, what he does, he turns the corner, walks out very confused, and the Doozers start to chant, Hail to the king! Hail to the king!
Yeah, they really just heard about how bad it was, and then instantly, this part was the only part I was a little confused about, because they're like, fuck yeah, he's back.
Well, even Cotterpin, too, who was listening to this history and being like, that sounds okay. Like, the Fraggles seem happy. We could do this. Seems like maybe the person who wouldn't necessarily be in full favor of a king, though.
Right. She's a rebel.
Yeah, but immediately she falls in line. And they're all just, I guess if you don't expect him to just appear out of nowhere,
That's
and
true.
he does,
when he's standing there when you open the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to it. Be like if King Arthur came back and England would be like, there you are. I guess he never really existed. Maybe. But they are waiting for him to come back. So, that's like part of the myth of him.
That's true. They say he
back.
could come back one day, but I guess.
That'd be crazy. Be at the UN and be like, well, 10,000 years ago, we just burned him at the stake. So,
I mean, Sam, this is like literally the story of Christianity, like what you're exploring here.
I know. But King Arthur would be even crazier than Jesus, I feel like. Because it would be like, you're just some weird knight guy. What the heck are you doing here? Wouldn't that be weird?
Weird, yes.
And they're
weirder,
like, you're
I'm
the
not
president.
sure.
And they said, you're the president of England now. He'd be totally
We
ill-suited
heard about
for
that
the job.
sword. Yeah, you're the president now.
Here's why. Because Jesus at least probably can look down and see what's happening.
Oh.
I feel like King Arthur's just dead.
So King Arthur
and then he'd come
is
back.
just going to like walk out of a painting and be like, where the hell am I? Like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, this is London. Welcome. You're our ruler.
You are the king now. I guess we have to tell you what everything in the whole world is. This is a car. This is a
He'd be the
dog.
Uncle Traveling Matt.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think things would go pretty poorly if we just took someone from the past and made them our leader all of a sudden.
And say, this is the nuclear arsenal.
Like, oh, this seems
All
super
right.
convenient.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think, things would go incredibly well for everyone if we just put someone from the before times in charge.
But you saying that, if George Washington walked out from behind a big rock and said, I'm back, baby, we'd say, you're the president.
No,
Don't you
we
think?
wouldn't.
Some people
There's been
would.
a lot. Oh yeah. Some people definitely.
I wouldn't.
There'd be,
To be clear,
there'd definitely be a reckoning
Some
with what the
people
founders intended. I think of like,
there would be some big problems.
yeah. Feels like a part of a Bill and Ted movie.
Oh, wow. They bring somebody back from the past and he's like, evil. How come they've never done that? Bill and Ted 4, we just figured it out.
Where were we?
The Gunge just walked out from
The
behind.
king
in front
has
of the mirror.
returned.
The king's
And he is thrilled. And he goes to tell Philo, who does not believe him at first. And my favorite thing is there's like this meta joke throughout this episode that Philo and Gunge have until this point been identical characters. Because Gunge says, I got special qualities. That's the difference between me and you. And Philo says, there's never been a difference between me and you. And Gunge says, well, there is now. And Gunge says he wants something bigger and better. He wants to be a star, which of course leads to the song, I'm gonna be a star.
I did write, Gunge says he wants to be a star so that he can sing a song called that.
Mm-hmm. And this
one's very clear.
This is a song about how everyone around him is an idiot and he's great. They want to swear in this song, and they don't, but they kind of do.
Yeah.
It says, no one knows how great I am because no one gives a good door slam.
That's great. This is sometimes I can tune the songs out a little bit. I'm a bit song blind, but this one I was full attention because it's right. Everything he's saying is true.
Yeah. Everyone says, I'm going to start a new career with a big cigar.
That shocked me that they, I guess if this was on Disney Plus, maybe they would cut that line out or something.
No, because they don't show him smoking. I think you can say
That's
the word
true.
cigar.
I would. Do you think Philo and Gunge are identical? I feel like Gunge has always been a little bit meaner than Philo.
I mean, I mix them up so often that until we really talked about them as our Muppets of the Week and talked about the different colors, I would have had a hard time telling you which one was which.
I was gonna say Gunge was the one who told who told Wimbley to set up all those traps, and Philo was the one who said just say boo. But I actually can't.
That might be actually the other way around, but I don't
I
remember
think
either.
you might be right.
See,
I can't recall.
Precisely the problem.
Yeah.
But now we know their main difference: number of teeth.
But
Doc is still trying to find the fancy dog food for Sprocket, and turns out no one sells it because they think no one will buy it because it's too damn expensive.
$6.99 a can.
Yeah.
Which was like $20 a can back then.
It is very pricey. And Doc mentions to Sprocket that they're on a very tight budget, but that he is going to go get the food for him.
I didn't like to hear about that.
It made me concerned that, like, Doc, maybe you can convince your dog to eat the okay dog food because...
Or get Miss Ardath to give you more hours at the inn or something.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to work there much anymore. We don't see him doing any tasks whatsoever.
No.
He's not tinkering. He's not even writing anymore.
He's not writing for all the various
He's not writing about
publications.
cats. Well, Gunge is in the middle of the Doozer Dome, sitting on a stack of silver pillows, which seems to be his throne.
Mm-hmm.
And they ask him what he wants to do, and the only things he can think of are things he used to do with Philo. And he says, you know what? Maybe we should party. But no Doozers remember how to party.
That was so funny.
So it turns out he has to sing another song called Gonna Party Saturday Night.
The fact that they have a concept for Saturday is interesting to me, but okay.
And we just get to see all the naked Doozers really into this
so
song. They're all dancing and singing, one spinning around on his butt.
His big naked butt.
Cotterpin, notably, the only Doozer wearing clothing.
Yeah, there's I think Yeaster is hanging out with a bunch of beads on.
That's
too.
true. Yeah, one of the old Doozers is there.
Don't know that those count as clothes.
Yeah, I can't wear
I'm
beads
not sure
to the
Cotterpin's
store.
clothes count as clothes either.
Well,
you could have had a lot. If you had enough beads on you.
There's a good
I
science
think.
experiment. Just keep have a strings all over you, so you're fully nude, covered in like clear strings, and you add
the line?
one bead at a time.
Oh, I was
And
thinking
how
you
many-
take it away.
Oh, either way, you can start with the beads and take it away until someone says stop it. I think the placement is going to be important
Oh, I think so too.
because you could have like a bead bikini, and no one's going to stop you.
I think you could have a square of beads in front of your genitals, and
Yeah.
people would still say this isn't acceptable.
Hey, don't do that. Especially what if they're like skin colored beads? Like, so it just look like pixelated.
Could you go to the grocery store in a skin-colored, what are those called? Speed suit? Is that what those are called?
Oh, they're like the Green Man.
The Green
suits?
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your head's poking out, but your outfit is just... Maybe you have underwear on too, so you can't really see much in detail. But you have a skin-colored, matched to your skin tone specifically, speed suit on. Is that okay? Will you get in trouble at the grocery store?
Well, I guess is there an image of a body on the suit, or is it just?
No, it's just
okay.
flesh.
I
You're
don't
just
think you'd get in trouble.
I think people would be mad at you, but I don't think you could be told to leave.
I think the moment it starts going over a line, like throw some hair on that design of the
What
suit.
if it just had nipples drawn on it? Would that be okay?
I think then you might get some more looks than just the skin suit.
Then the manager might come and say, "You gotta shop fast and get out of here, bud."
Yeah. Well, and so many science experiments that we can try.
We
out.
thought of a lot of good things for Babish to do, for Hank to do. Hank could do the nudity one.
Yeah. Philo is complaining to Marjorie about Gunge and how his head's gotten so big since he became king. Marjorie thinks that Gunge is just going through an identity crisis. And so Philo decides to take off and tell Gunge what he really thinks of him. And Marjorie says, "My boys are growing up."
Their little dynamic was so believable.
She's got like 2 shitty teenagers that she's like, all right, I'll let them work this out.
And it was nice to see her again.
Yeah, we
I
have
don't
not seen
like
her in a
that
while.
we don't see her as much.
This is when one of the old doozers approaches to bring a tribute to Gunge because he's so bored. And it's an Uncle Traveling Matt postcard being carried in on a little doozer forklift.
Forklift kind of thing, yeah.
This Uncle Traveling Matt postcard
This one's
is
bizarre.
Uncle Traveling Matt in a kayak because he's talking about how
They don't have a nice Fraggle pool.
They don't have
in
any
human
calm
world.
water. It's all rough.
Yeah.
So they have to wear giant water shoes to not get wet, which is a kayak.
Yeah, which is, they could know what a boat is. I think it's allowed to know what a boat is.
He saw the fishing boat before
Yeah.
with calm water.
They built a boat in one of the episodes of Fraggle Rock, and they
Yeah.
call it a boat a lot of times.
Yeah. Ugh. Well,
And also this one's only literally 10 seconds long.
but it is wild because we see Uncle Traveling Matt in the front seat of a kayak
That was
going
pretty
down
cool.
some rapids, and they flip over with Uncle Traveling Matt in the kayak.
I assume maybe not. Maybe they don't flip when maybe he's not being puppeted.
I
when
don't
they
think
flip,
Dave
but-
Goles is tucked in there. I think they just propped up an Uncle Traveling Matt, tossed
Oh,
him
I
down
thought
the
he was
rapids.
moving in one of the scenes.
He's moving in one of the scenes. I don't think he's
Right.
moving in the scene right before
No.
he flips over.
No.
So I think there
Two
are
different
times where Dave Goles is in a kayak, shoved in
Right.
there.
Just to make something that then when it cuts back to Gunge, he's like, "This sucked. Get out of my face."
Pretty much, yeah. And I guess I shouldn't say it. It's not always Dave Goles doing these international ones.
Yeah, that's
He's in some of them, but other times they
Yeah.
just have local puppeteers.
Some German guy.
Yep.
Get out of this boat, German guy.
Since that didn't work, the Doozers decided to put on a stunt show for Gunge to try and impress him.
It's pretty good too.
Yeah, it doesn't work for Gunge, but it worked for me.
Yeah.
We see a few of them stacked on top of each other. They have some wings attached to them for some reason. 3 of them ride a bike across a tightrope. And one is
The guy on the ball. That was good.
one's balancing on top of a beach ball, holding an umbrella.
Mhm.
All very impressive. And I'm sure, again, took till 3 a.m. to film and get right.
I think a lot about how do they? I would love to know how they fabricate this stuff. How I assume that they're past the point where they have to be oh, we got to find something that looks like eyes for Kermit, and they can just say we need some white balls.
Yeah.
But do they have to go to the hardware store and be what could be a white ball, or do they have a supply of white balls that someone's?
They just got a whole room
giving
of white
them?
balls at this point.
Yeah. Whenever any of them see a white ball, they're like, you can never have too many. We have to get more white balls.
Well, this is when Gunge declares that this isn't what he wants at all. Thankfully, Philo has showed up and he is stoked to see his old friend. But the architect wants to know who Philo is because he looks just like their king. And once again, Gunge says, "You think we look alike?" And they take him to the portrait of the king. And Philo distracts the architect by saying, "Hey, look over there." And while he's turned around, Philo adds a second tooth to the cave painting, so it looks like him.
You kind of skipped over a part I really liked for some reason, which was when Philo, when Gunge is I don't want to be king anymore. And then Philo shows up and he's like, "Fuck you." And he bites him on the tail,
He
you
does
know?
bite
And
him on
he's
the tail.
so mean to him and calls him a jerk. And I really thought that was an interesting, that was such a believable, and then he doubles down. Gunge is like, "I'm going to be king forever.
Mhm.
Fuck you."
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting part that added stakes to it and made it. Because they almost made up, Gunge was ready
Right.
to.
It's that thing where, thankfully, later on this gets resolved, but they don't talk about their feelings. They
Mhm.
Philo is there
Just to lash out at Gunge.
Yeah, and Gunge doesn't just say, "Oh, yeah, no, I actually don't want this. I want to come back and hang out with you." But because Philo lashes out at him, he goes, "Oh, you're just jealous. I actually do want to be king."
Yeah. I like that part. It was so sad.
Well, at this point is when Philo is declared king, and And Gunge is the one who now has to wander off, sadly.
This was the same thing happening twice in an episode, but it made sense.
Yes. Well, because it's also, it's not like a doubling down on, we found another thing that makes Gunge our king again. Like, there's a flipping of it of like, now Philo's the king.
They flipped like 4 times, which I guess could have been funny too. But
they just keep adding other little traits of like, oh, I colored it in. It's pink now.
Yeah. It'd be like the bitter butter battle or whatever, you know?
I don't.
The Dr. Seuss book where some of the people butter the top of their toast and some people butter the bottom of their toast, and they just keep finding reasons to hate each other, and then they like nuke each other.
I definitely did not read that one as a kid.
It ends with like they like one of them's like, I built a new weapon, it will destroy them all, and the other side's like, I built a new weapon, it will destroy them all, and they're like wheeling it out, and the narrator's like, we're fucked, don't let this happen to you. It's a dark one. It's like a novelette more than a kid's book. Anyway, he's sad.
Gunge is back complaining to Marjorie, saying the Doozers love me because I was king, not because I was me.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a realization there. But Marjorie lets him know that Philo missed him too while he was gone earlier.
She's so helpful in this episode.
Very helpful.
She's
Actual
so
real
kind.
advice.
Yeah.
And we cut back down, and now Philo is the one getting bored by the stunt show.
I really love the concept that the Doozers just suck so bad that they do. It would be boring.
That's impressive if you were the king.
Yeah, but you know that they're dorks. They're not going to party with you.
They don't party.
They don't party.
And because of that, Philo and Gunge get to sing a lovely song now that they're reunited. And it's called Anything at All. And it's just a very sweet song about how their friendship is the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
Even with the line, and the world can pass away if my friend is here to stay.
So sweet.
And so we see them. They left the Doozers behind. At this point, we don't understand how that just sort of worked out.
We don't see the Doozers. Oh, no, we do. Because they paint the third tooth.
Well, yeah, but that's revealed later.
Right.
Because they get back to Marjorie, who has her beautiful necklace, and she asks, well, how did you convince the Doozers that neither of you was their king? And that's when we cut back down and we see that they painted a third tooth on the king portrait.
I think the only thing this episode could have used is maybe a little undercurrent of the architect knowing that this was wrong and like trying to do something about it.
Right, trying to out that, like, I don't think you're our king, though.
Yeah. And then him painting an extra tooth on there would be like, then they could have been like, we got to get out of here. How do we do it? And he'd be like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, it just makes the Doozers seem a little dumb.
They do seem really stupid in this episode, yeah. But I guess they have before seemed at least very myopic.
Yeah, but
They're
this is
very
just like,
devoted to-
they don't remember that the tooth was a singular tooth.
Sure.
They're fooled every time a tooth is added to the painting.
Well, you know what, Matt? Maybe that's a commentary on religion or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Would you like to expand on that?
Oh, no.
All right, then.
The King James Bible.
Oh, no.
Different translations, you know? There's different translations. And things happen.
But people don't say 5 minutes later, oh, actually, that wasn't true. And people go, oh, you're right. Well, after that, Doc and Sprocket are reunited because Doc got the food for Sprocket. We learned that Doc has a very convenient little can opener underneath his workbench. He just kind of reaches the can down, pops it open.
Yeah.
And gives Sprocket just a spoonful of food because that's all they can afford for one day.
Oh, no.
This is not a solution, Doc, by the way.
No.
But that's all we see is that Doc gives him that and then adds in some milk bones, and Sprocket's happy. And the moral here that he tosses in, because the food, remember, is called Rover's Royal Repast,
Yeah.
is that being a king isn't all it's cracked up to be.
That doesn't make any sense.
Not really.
I think he needs to teach him a lesson about budgeting. Or
Yes.
something.
Share some
Or-
spreadsheets with Sprocket.
Yeah. About balancing checkbooks. That's when Sprocket needs to learn that.
What would you rate that episode, Sam?
I gave it 4 stars. That's one of my favorite episodes ever.
It's very good. Gunge is just great. Both Philo and Gunge.
Yeah. And the Doozers combined, 2 great tastes that taste great together.
So that ends season 3 of Fraggle Rock. Sam, how'd you feel about season 3 overall?
I think Fraggle Rock, I can't quite recall how I felt about the whole season. I think Fraggle Rock in general is my favorite thing that we've ever watched. I think it is like, I feel like the show is so underrated. I know people love it,
Yeah.
but I feel like this is probably like their masterpiece, at least so far.
It is definitely their most consistent thing as well.
Totally.
Like,
That's a big part of it.
I think Muppet Show had so many like really off episodes in between some truly great episodes that it sort of tainted some of the seasons of that show.
Yeah.
And then you could tell like throughout Muppet Show, you could see that they were like trying to find their footing and try to figure out what the hell these characters are, what their story is, what's going on.
Yeah, which is especially weird when they were like making movies where they had found their footing and then go back and like.
Well, and they don't do it in a story like in a plot point kind of way. They don't let the evolution happen on screen. One episode, this person is just now this person. Whereas in Fraggle Rock, most of these changes are happening on screen through an episode where the relationship between characters changes and we get to see that happen.
Yeah.
So good job.
Yeah,
what we're saying. Good job, Fraggle team.
I think it's so good. And I care about these characters so much. And I just don't think about the Muppets that much anymore. I just think about like, Red's so cool.
I think that's why it's a bummer that like we haven't got to see recently a lot of TV appearances and stuff. Like there hasn't been a ton that we've been watching. But it also bums me out that we don't get to see like Gobo and Red or Boober hanging out on the Tonight Show or something.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. Like if they really were like sabotage themselves, and I understand why they did it, but by making that rule that the Fraggles, I mean, it seems like a rule that the Fraggles, besides Traveling Matt, can't appear with other people, and he's the worst Fraggle character. I mean, even beyond just the fact that I think like my own, like joking about it, I think he sucks. Like, well, and he's not a compelling character,
right? Like you can't have a good conversation with Uncle Traveling Matt, as opposed to if Boober got to be on a talk show. Yeah, you'd have some good times.
Oh, yeah, or if the Gorgs got to come out and do a little dance or something.
Dick Cavett next to Pa Gorg.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think that the closest we'll get to that sort of thing, I think it's called like Fraggles Look for Jobs or something.
Oh, right. Like the kind of like fake finale, like.
Yeah, I think it's an internal, cast video that they made where the Fraggles are in the real world looking for jobs post Fraggle Rock.
That's sad.
But I think that's the closest we'll see to sort of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully season 4 and 5 are just as good, if not better, of diving into Fraggle lore. But we won't find out for a little while because we got a bunch of other stuff to watch. We got a whole other season of Muppet Babies to get through before we get to that.
Oh, God.
We have fun stuff along the way, though, too, Sam. We've got Follow That Bird. We've got Dream Child. We've got more Sesame Street. And we've got Jim Henson presenting the world of puppetry to us.
There's just so many episodes of Muppet Babies, Matt.
There are quite a few. But, that's the point of this podcast. We have to do it.
No, yeah, you're right.
So now it's time for our Muppet of the Week. This week's Muppet of the Week, Bagoonie.
Oh, we have one.
We have one.
Muppet of the Week. Okay.
It's Bagoonie, because we got a new Muppet this week.
Uh-huh.
And we talked a lot about Bagoonie, pretty much most of what there is to know about Bagoonie already. He's the somewhat rabbit-looking magical creature we saw in the Incredible Shrinking Mokey episode. And the main reason I want to talk about Bagoonie briefly here is because obviously Bagoonie debuts in this episode, but this is not the last time we will see the puppet of Bagoonie.
Mm-hmm.
The puppet was later reused in The Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island, and it will also show up on Moppetop Shop, where it plays a bunch of different characters with names like Click Sniz, Pippa Pepper, and Granny Rose.
I like Pippa Pepper.
I don't like Click Sniz.
No, I think that sounds like a nasty thing to say.
Does sound almost dirty. And then in Muppets Tonight, Bagoonie will appear multiple times in the audience, just in the background. Well, and last year, Bagoonie came back in Fraggle Rock on Back to the Rock.
What?
Yeah, so Bagoonie is back, Sam. Back in the day, John Pattison performed Bagoonie. He was also the performer behind Henchy and the Flying Whoopee Cushion, if you remember that from an earlier season.
Yeah.
Just the cushion that flew around yelling whoopee. And now in Back to the Rock, Amy Garcia is the performer behind Bagoonie, who is also the performer of Marjorie the Trash Heap and Ma Gorg and Henchy Fraggle. But, of course, that is all there is to know about Bagoonie. But we will see Bagoonie pop up throughout our years of watching more Muppet content. I guess we got to rate Bagoonie.
Yeah, what? Why? Bagooni's a little creep.
A little bit, yeah.
I give him 4 stars so far.
Mm.
Maybe I'll like him better later. He is a Muppet Christmas Carol, though. It's a little baby. That's
Mhm.
cute.
Very cute.
The puppet is just so weird. He looks like somebody beat Bugs Bunny up really bad. 4. I don't like Bagoony.
All right. I like Bagoonie a little bit more, but I also feel like we haven't got enough information to really be impressed. So I'm going to say
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, take that, Bagoony.
Well, Sam, before we get out of here, I got to ask, what non-Muppet things did you enjoy this week?
Well, me and Rachel both had COVID through a lot of Loki coming out. So we watched Loki. We crammed it on Friday. We watched every episode. That show's weird. Did you watch it?
I haven't watched the new season yet.
It's so weird. It's like there's 6 episodes. 5 of them are incomprehensible, and then the last one's really good. But I don't think it was very good. But I see like people online being like, "This is great. Return to form for Marvel." And it's like, I don't know about that. I feel like I'm at a point where I don't know what I like. That Marvel's all kind of connected, and I know a lot of people don't like that. But I'm at a point where I don't know what is going to matter and what's not going to matter.
Right.
And I'd rather just wait. It's like with real comic books, kind of, where you have to just wait like 5 years, and then the big event happens, and then you're like, okay, what do I have to go back and read to understand that big event? But it's different than comics, because comics, like 15 of them come out every week, so you can kind of like dip in and out. But this is like one every 4 months or 6 months or whatever. So It's like, I don't know what's going on anymore. Like, I'm never gonna watch Secret Invasion unless I really have to. But
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Shang-Chi came out over 2 years ago, and we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, or heard mention of him
about that movie again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, okay, are we expecting him to show up in the next Avengers?
Yeah.
Because if so, I feel like you should be mentioning him at least to remind people he exists.
Yeah. Or like the Eternals. Like that's
never coming up again.
Did you find that embarrassing enough that you'll never use it again? The Celestials, I assume, will come back, maybe, but I don't know. So I still like that stuff, but Loki was just like so weird. It ends really interesting though.
I mean, as people have pointed out, there's been 7 Marvel movies since Eternals, and not a single one has mentioned the giant celestial that's supposed to be around the Earth.
There's an article about it in the background of She-Hulk. And that's it.
But the fact that it's never been even a line being like,
yeah,
that's fucking weird, right?
Yeah. She's like looking in at a website and it says, why is there a statue of a giant man in the ocean? So it's even that, it's like a joke.
Yeah.
But I guess I bring that up because Loki ends really interestingly, but I have no idea if it will ever be brought up ever.
I mean, I feel like that's what happened when Loki, the first season happened, and then like at the time, I believe what was happening was like when Loki was coming out, we knew the Spider-Man and the Doctor Strange were both going to be multiverse time jumpy stuff.
Yeah.
And so then when Loki happened and it was all about time jumpy stuff, you're like, oh, this is what caused all of the other time jumpy multiverse stuff. And then each of them had their own rules that didn't have any effect on the other ones. And I was like, cool. So none of this matters.
Yeah. So I'll just chill out and wait until you tell me what the hell is going on.
Yeah, so I'm excited to watch it because I did like the first season a lot, and I have been off the Marvel train for a little bit, but yeah, I'll check it out.
It's weird. And then by the end, you mentioned Doctor Who earlier, I was like, oh, they're just totally ripping off Doctor Who. So if you watch it like a Doctor Who series, that kind of made it actually snap for me and be like, okay, I guess I can understand what they're going for, because it really does feel like, especially he gets so Doctor Who-y at the end. He's like flipping his hair, running around in his suit with his tie flying around, and you're like, you just are British and wanted to be Doctor Who.
Yeah, you didn't get cast. They cast somebody else as the new Doctor Who. Tom Hiddleston was mad. He was like,
I'll make my own Doctor Who.
Yeah.
That's what he sounds like. I'm Tom.
Yeah.
How about you?
I mean, mostly we've been rewatching things lately. We just rewatched Coco and Paddington this week.
Oh.
Both fantastic movies.
Coco made me too sad. I can't
Coco's
watch
very
that
sad.
again.
Paddington is maybe just the most perfect movie that's ever existed.
I've watched, I know it's like a meme or whatever to be like, these are great movies. but we've watched those quite a few times, and they're very fun. I like Paddington 2 better.
Yeah, Paddington
But-
2 is like literally like a perfect movie from beginning to end.
Yeah. And it makes me really excited about that horrible looking Willy Wonka movie.
That's
Because it's
literally
same
the only
director.
thing that makes me interested in that movie is that it's from the guy who made Paddington.
And I trust that. I
And
trust that guy.
it's a musical, Sam.
And we haven't really seen any songs.
Just the Oompa Loompa song that we all know and love.
Yeah. And just that, what's his name? Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Of all the names I cannot remember, how can I remember his? He's just, I just can't see him singing and being a goofball, but
He's not goofy.
he's not goofy.
He's not a goofy boy.
Nope. But I guess Willy Wonka in the movie is not traditionally goofy. He's scary, kind of. So
I think Timothy Chalamet thinks he's goofy, though.
I think he does too.
I think in his performance, he's like, look at how wacky I'm being. And
I
he's
think
like,
so too.
not wacky.
He's like drama kid energy, big drama kid
Yeah.
energy, high school.
Sorry,
style.
Timothy. You're welcome on the podcast anytime.
We would love to have you. I think you're great. I love you, Timothy Chalamet.
You just hosted
but-
SNL. I hear you did a good job. Haven't watched it yet.
Next step. Then they all say that the next step after SNL is to appear on Commitment.
Yeah, it's a steep fall. But yeah, I basically just watched those two movies and I started building my little Home Alone Lego set, which is my life now.
I love that for you.
Well, before we go, we want to let you know what we'll be watching next time. And next time, we are going to obviously step away from Fraggle Rock. We finished up season 3. And we are going to watch the first 2 episodes of Jim Henson Presents The World of Puppetry.
Oh boy.
And these are the 2 episodes focused on puppeteers, Philippe Genty and Hank Borwinkle.
We're about to get cerebral up in here.
Yeah. And we'll learn next time if I pronounce those names at all correctly. Both of these are available for free on Shout Factory TV. Or in some places, they're available on Canopy if you use that through your local library card. I know sometimes things are very like library by library basis.
Inexplicably unwatchable.
Yeah, but Shout Factory TV, there are ads there, but you can totally watch it. It has a kick-ass theme song, is all I will say for now.
Okay.
Man, the first like 30 seconds of these episodes is all about, that's pretty much all I've watched so far, but great theme song.
Huh.
So yeah, we'll learn a lot about puppets and get to hear Jim being a giant nerd.
I miss that.
You're going to get an overload of it.
Okay.
But that's next time. For now, we need to thank our friend Tuna for making music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. You can go to commitment.com to check out our merch or our faces or listen to episodes or just get in contact with us, which you can also do by emailing mail@commitment.com. You can follow us everywhere on social media @CommitmentPod. And you can follow me @Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.